And we're live.
All
I
right.
hope that things are working. We are having a lot of technical difficulties.
All right. Looks like we're live on YouTube.
We are?
Yes.
Perfect.
Just got the notification as well.
Thank you. Okay. Finally. Sorry about that. Looks like when Streamlabs updated earlier today, it completely reset all of the settings we had for the stream, including our stream key. So we had to change it, but finally, we fixed it. We're here with the season 2 premiere of the Worldwide Wednesday podcast.
All right.
I am your host, Shiny,
And I'm Sovereign.
and it really seems like the world really does not want us to start this season 2, given all the problems we've been having over the past half month.
Yes.
If you guys don't know, I caught COVID and I was basically incapacitated for like 2 weeks. It was a horrible experience and I hated it. And once I got over COVID, I started having problems with my wisdom tooth, which made it painful to talk, which would make it very difficult to do a podcast. So, yes, so now we're coming to you live today on the 12th of January. It's been a road.
And with you bringing up COVID, that is some topic that we will dive into more the later half of the episode today. But to make things a little bit more lighthearted, let's go ahead and jump into our media segments here. Which let's go ahead and talk about the season finale of Hawkeye.
Yes. So, what did you think?
Well, first off, Vincent D'Onofrio killed it.
Oh yeah, he definitely did. I loved his performance.
Yeah. And then there were some complaints about, oh, Kingpin would never wear an outfit this colorful and bright. And then literally on social media, people have been posting the comic book cover that outfit was referenced in.
Yeah. Oh, I will hold.
Just fans getting angry about things that they think are about things that they think are already like dug into their mind despite not being actual comic book fans.
Yeah, like I've talked about this with Sovereign, and I've even posted about it on Reddit. If you find the post, then you'll know what it is. But some people get an idea of a character or a series in their head based off of one specific based off of one specific scene, and really extrapolate from there. And I feel a lot of fans did this with Kingpin. The biggest thing is that a lot of people see Kingpin as that very angry man that smashed Anatoly's head in with a car door back in Daredevil season 1. And from there, they kind of just built up a character around that scene instead of actually viewing that scene as just one aspect of his character, being his brutality.
Yeah.
The reality is that Wilson Fisk in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is a very multi-layered character that is far more complex than strong guy beats guy's head in with car door.
But yeah, like we said in our episode 5 review, like he is a very deep character shown in the entirety of Daredevil. Like we
Yes.
got into detail about how he likes to fixate on the little things, and also how his relationship with Vanessa is actually extremely genuine, especially for a villain.
Yes.
And speaking of multi-layered, another thing people are like up in arms about are his durability feats.
Oh, yes.
So the fact that he takes an arrow straight to the heart and just walks it off.
So a lot of people forget some things about the MCU Wilson Fisk, one of which is that his suits are armor. They are tailored by an armorer. I believe his suits were made, if not by Melvin Potter, the man that made Daredevil's suit, made by someone with similar skills to Melvin Potter.
Yeah, but that arrow definitely pierced that armor.
It pierced the armor, but it may not have hit skin. It's like a bulletproof vest. A bulletproof breath. Wow, words are very difficult for me today. A bulletproof vest, if you are hit with a bullet, it can pierce the vest, but it may not break skin. It may just cause a bruise. I believe his armored suits work the same way.
Okay.
And then also, the other thing people complain about was his strength. And I just have to say, he picked up Bullseye, a fully grown man, ex military, ex FBI agent, and smashed his spine against the side of a wall. If you're going to sit here and tell me that's not superhuman, then you and I live on two completely different planets. Anything to add on with that one?
Yeah, it's just a lot of complaining that I see, and it's not justified.
Yeah, I see. And I also feel some people, when it came to Kingpin, I feel some people were expecting, they were like, why is he going down to the ground floor himself? Like, why does it seem like he's so weak? Well, if you remember at the beginning of the season, they straight up say that Ronin literally destroyed the status and power of the Kingpin.
And even without even considering that, imagine what he's had to build from the ground up after spending God knows how many years in prison.
Exactly. The last time that we see Daredevil, I believe in universe, is in 2016.
Yeah.
It is now 2024 or 2025 in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. That is 8 to 9 years in the future, and a lot has happened. The Kingpin definitely isn't at his full capacity in terms of underworld influence.
Like, the height of his character was in season 3 of Daredevil, when he literally had the entirety of the local FBI completely infiltrated.
Exactly. It wasn't just the FBI. He actually had infiltrated all the way up to the senator of New York City. Not New York City, of New York State. So, we'll probably see that Kingpin return probably within the show Echo.
Yeah. Which also leads me to another thing, is that it's been revealed that there was a deleted scene of, or like a deleted post-credit scene that showed Kingpin actually surviving the gunshot. I definitely think that that is a consequence of the sudden green light of Echo.
Well, I don't think it was a sudden green light. Echo has been greenlit for as long as we've known Hawkeye has been greenlit.
I mean, but think about it. Like, it wasn't something we were expecting. It definitely was something that was done out of the blue.
I would say so, but I really have to stress this. Echo was announced within the same time period Hawkeye was announced. So the plans for that show was already well into development before we even started filming for Hawkeye.
You think so? You think
It
so?
it definitely was, considering when the general public got access to it, which it really flew under the radar for a lot of people. But Echo has been announced since Hawkeye was announced. It wasn't announced on Disney Plus Day or at D23 when we first learned about Hawkeye, but there was a Variety article, or it was Variety or a Deadline. There was an article that came out about how Echo was already going to be a thing.
Hmm.
So I don't think it was sudden that Echo was greenlit. I believe the decision to get rid of that post credit scene, I think, was just to bring more levity to the ending of Hawkeye, given it's a holiday show.
And maybe give more weight to the plot of Echo. See, the reason I'm inclined to think this way
Mm.
is because I can see the benefit of eliminating that post-credit scene in order to benefit the narrative of Echo when that show comes out.
Oh yeah, I
That's
definitely could.
that's why I'm thinking this way, is that maybe they were filming it super early, because let's also not forget that we also had that, well, yeah, I guess, well, there could be a gap in the middle, because you also have to consider the COVID gap.
Yeah, if anything, it may have been affected by COVID.
So if we're to take my theory seriously, maybe they started filming season 1 pre-COVID, and then suddenly greenlit it at just about the same time, or greenlit as in announcing both, and then take the COVID gap and then finish production after
Yeah,
that.
I believe I believe when Hawkeye was in production, they did have to stop a bit because of COVID.
So
Um, yes, but no, I believe it was better served when they realized we're still making Echo, and we could probably just include this scene, a la how what was it? Wasn't it the ending of Captain America? Not Captain America. Which post? It was Captain America. No, Ant-Man. Which which Marvel movie had a post-credit scene with Falcon and Cap meeting Scott?
that was Ant-Man.
Ant-Man had that post-credit scene.
Yeah, it was the setup for them meeting Ant-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or because I know one of the Marvel movies had a post-credit scene that was then just shown again within the
Yeah, no,
movie.
that was shown in Ant-Man in preparation for Civil War.
Yeah. So I think it would have been something like that, and I think they would have much preferred to just, let's just throw Rogers the musical in
Yeah.
there. So moving away from Kingpin centric, let's talk about Hawkeye and Kate Bishop themselves and how their characters developed over the season. How satisfied do you feel?
I think it does a decent job um, setting up Kate Bishop as the person who will inherit the role of Hawkeye. Because of course we get that scene in the end where she goes through all the potential names, and then it just cuts to black and just shows the title screen, which of course is a nod to showing that she's going to inherit the name Hawkeye.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is it's pretty obvious.
Hmm.
Although I did have to explain it to someone I was watching the show with,
Really?
surprisingly enough.
Wow.
I mean, I personally thought it was pretty obvious, but the fact that I had to explain it,
I mean, has that person seen Invincible then?
no.
Well, then that maybe
I think I only showed them like one episode.
if they had seen Invincible, then they would have definitely gotten how that worked.
Maybe Invincible has poisoned my mind to think that way.
But I was personally really satisfied with how Clint developed. I especially really liked how like remorseful we see him about Nat's death
Yeah,
because we started seeing it a bit in the beginning when he was watching Rogers the musical and he saw Natasha's like the actress playing Natasha and then the little girl dressed up as Black Widow. So we saw that it still weighs heavily on his mind, but the last episode where he talks to the plaque with her name on it, and then again when he is like talking to Yelena, really solidifies he feels so much guilt over what happened on Vormir, and he genuinely thinks it should have been him.
yeah. And he definitely shows regret for that, especially talking to Yelena. Her just completely rejecting the fact that why wasn't it him?
Yeah,
Because she is desperate to reconnect with Natasha,
exactly.
and she got robbed at that moment. That's the like hardest part of her character arc.
Exactly. Like, what was I gonna say? Seeing her basically scream like, "Why wasn't it? Why wasn't it? Her? Why was it her?" Clint is thinking the exact same thing. Why was it her?
Yeah,
Why couldn't it have been me?
yeah,
But the answer is really simple. It's she beat him. She,
yeah,
she beat him at. It's really weird to say, but the winner of that fight was the one to die, and she won a fight.
yeah,
But I really think that they really developed Clint Clint's grief really well, and I like how his grief over Nat's death is done in a more healthy fashion than compared to his grief over his family's death,
yeah,
where this
yeah,
time
definitely.
he's not angry and filled with rage over what he viewed was senseless. This time he understands that there was a purpose, even if he really didn't agree with the purpose, and he really wishes it was not the case. But this time he's less angry. He's more remorseful, more introspective, less aggressive about channeling his grief.
Right. for sure, for sure. And I also want to talk about Echo. Now, this character is hard to get right by any means. I mean, a character that only performs in sign language,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to pull off. I'm even surprised that they semi pulled it off in Eternals.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
It was definitely like the ASL that we see in Hawkeye was definitely a step up in
yeah,
terms of what
because
we saw in Eternals. And I mean, in Eternals, it was fine.
but the higher level is in her facial performance
Exactly. Like
because
seeing
you can tell when she's angry, you can tell when she's frustrated, you can tell when she's worried,
exactly like
and
that's not to pit the two characters together between Makari and Maya, but it really was good to see two different deaf characters in the MCU and the various ranges that the two characters can have. With Makari, you can see more of her personality as a very playful, energetic person, and it's reflected in her acting, even though she is deaf and she does not speak. You can feel like her rage when she's pummeling Icarus, or her worry when she sees Druid get absolutely just blasted away. But with Maya, she brings a different she brings a different not skill, I guess skill set, in the sense that when she's acting, you see her as a very angry person. You see the rage that is bubbling under the surface that came from her father dying.
yeah,
Like in the way that she carries herself, you can tell that she shoulders a lot of rage at the fact that her father is dead.
yeah.
Like you can even see it with how she runs the tracksuits, where they are her family, but you can tell she keeps them almost at an arm's length, except for Kazi, because she's just so angry.
I would say I think that's definitely a benefit of the narrative giving her a leg up in because Makari has no massive stake in the plot where it's centered around her.
Yeah,
Meanwhile, Maya has her own stretch of a character arc for her to go through that is relevant to the plot of Hawkeye.
yeah, that's definitely true. I mean, I really liked her, and I really like Alakwa Cox. This is her first like major acting credit.
Yeah,
Period. I mean, the only acting credit she had before was, I believe, a high school play where she wasn't even one of the main characters. So going from a high school play to what is basically like a massive holiday show to bookend the first part of Marvel's Phase 4, I think she hit it out of the park.
yeah,
Especially with the fight choreography. The way they incorporated the fact that Alako Cox actually has an amputated leg, and so she wears an artificial one. The way they integrated that into Echo and how she fights, I think, was masterfully done. Because you can
yeah.
tell whenever Hawkeye would hit her knee with not her knee, but her calf with his sword, you would hear the metal clang because of the fact that, well, it's metal on metal.
Yeah. Yeah. One other thing that I do want to talk about is the potential for Kate and Yelena's interactions in the future MCU.
Oh yes, I
Because
love their chemistry in the second to last and in this
I
episode as
will be
well.
honest, ever since episode I think episode 5,
Yeah, that's fine.
I've been seeing in my recommended feeds so many Kate and Yelena being besties compilations
I know.
infiltrating my feed at least 3 times a week.
It's amazing.
And they put the Me Shop music behind it,
Oh my
behind their
god.
interactions to show just the chemistry they have in it. I don't know why these compilations work so well for these characters.
It works really well, especially because, well, Florence Pugh and Haley Steinfeld are amazing actresses. So you put two amazing actresses together with two characters that are also really dynamic, and you get probably some of the best interactions in the MCU. Like the way they fought each other throughout throughout the hotel building, where
At the end they just complimented each other.
Yeah.
without like without any hesitation.
I like the fact that she's like, ow, when she threw, I think it's called a baroque, where the spinning balls things, I think it's called a baroque, where she just threw it and it just absolutely just like cracked against her hands. She's like, ow, that hurt.
Yeah,
I really like the two of their dynamic. I thought it was just amazing. I love the two characters, and I really hope that the next project we see either of them in, the other is in it as well. I doubt it, but I really hope so because I just want to see more of them. I think the best, in my opinion, would be seeing the two of them with Tom Holland Spider Man.
yeah. Which of course is leaning towards the Young Avengers.
Oh, definitely, and
Which we'll get to that in our No Way Home review. But I
yeah,
have opinions of him already stepping into another group.
oh yeah, but right now I thought those two were amazing. I mean, obviously, Florence Pugh as Yelena was the highlight, in my opinion, of Black Widow. She stole the show, was an absolute showstopper, was hilarious, was great at action scenes, and it carried over in this. And yeah, I mean, I just want more. I just want more of Yelena and Kate. I think they are two very fun characters. I really like everything about them. I think they're funny and dynamic, but they also show a wide range of emotions. Like with Kate, the entire time you saw Kate with Eleanor, you can feel the underlying resentment that Kate has for with her mom. Because even though we as the audience or even Kate knows that Eleanor is involved with some shady shit, you can tell that ever since the death of Derek, something changed in their relationship that has led Kate to be very standoffish with her mother.
Yeah,
And it probably was that her mother doing stuff with organized crime caused some tension that neither of them, I think, really knew grew as a result of it.
yeah. Which that does also lead to something I have been giving some thought to. Did Eleanor have a way out?
No,
Yeah, like of course Kate, like, sending her mom to prison was, of course, the right character arc for her to go through. But I'm just sitting here thinking, like, did she ever have an out? Especially to someone as, like,
influential as the Kingpin.
yeah,
The answer, in my opinion, is no. Think about it. The Kingpin has access to Val. And as we know, Val has access to one, Yelena, and two, John Walker. We don't know who else she has access to. What if she has access to Xiaoling's 10 rings, where she can pay Xiaoling to send an assassin from the 10 rings?
yeah. And that's been in my mind because, like, yes, of course, I do agree with Kate's character arc of, you know, like, disrupting the chain of command from Kingpin and Eleanor.
Yeah.
But like at the same time, I also feel some bit of sympathy for her character because she had no way to get out of this.
Oh, definitely not. She really didn't. Well, it's like, I mean, it's like the real life mafia. You only get out through two ways: through prison or a body bag.
Yeah, I
It is
just
very rare that someone can get out of organized crime scot free.
I just wish that there was like a line that acknowledged that fact because when I saw that scene, that's all I could really think about was the fact that she really had no choice, and the fact that she doesn't like express this feeling to her daughter.
Yeah,
I feel like it could have been written a little bit better.
it could have. But at the same time, I also understand where Kate's coming from just because
I,
her
I, I don't
mom murdered
I
someone.
don't fault Kate.
Oh, yeah,
It's more like a conflict I have with the writing of that particular
yeah.
scene. Like I
You,
wish they
when
addressed
she was being arrested.
right.
Yeah.
I wish that like it could have been emotional. Like she could have broken down in tears. Like I had no choice. Your father did this to me.
Yeah. Which
Like
honestly would have been a really good character moment. I agree with you.
like it could have been a chance to show Kate that there's more than just a good and evil because like
Her
uh,
dad is her hero.
yeah. And no, Clint is her hero.
But so was her dad,
Yeah.
obviously.
Like that was shut off pretty early in the series anyway.
Yeah.
But like she's very up and coming with her character arc into becoming an Avengers level hero,
Mm.
and so giving her that uh, sort of outlook into who she might be fighting in the future could have been beneficial to her character arc. So
Yeah,
it's something I would have liked to see, and the fact that it was missed, I don't fault the show for doing it,
but
but
they may hold on to it. Because
they
let's be
could.
honest here. Eleanor's alive. This is not the last we're seeing of her.
That is fair.
If they live, we ain't. They're not done.
Yeah.
Speaking of living, if you thought Kingpin died at the ending of Hawkeye, then I am very much surprised that this is the first time you've ever watched a TV show, and you chose Hawkeye to be the first TV show you ever watched.
If you don't see a corpse, they're not dead.
Even if you do see a corpse, if it's not explicitly shown that it's the same corpse, they may not be dead. In fact, unless it is outright stated by the creator themselves out of universe that the character is dead, they may not be dead. I've seen too many forms of media where nothing confirms a dead body besides someone just outright saying out of universe they're dead.
Well, you can't kill a character like Jason Todd and bring him back to life. Oh, wait.
Okay, well, to be fair, Jason was dead for what, 20 some odd years? I mean, you know the saying was there's only three characters that stay dead: Uncle Ben, Bucky Barnes, and Jason Todd. Well, nowadays it's just Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyways, I think, oh yeah, of course, we have to talk about the best character, our favorite himbo, Jack.
Oh, right. The
Okay.
fact that the intensity of the entire plot completely goes over his head.
Jack is a dumb himbo that I'm pretty sure murdered 6 people in the final battle, and I love him. He is the most aloof, like he's the definition of an aloof, eccentric millionaire.
Is he even a millionaire? Because his uncle. Well, now he is actually, because he inherits his.
Yeah, poor Armand the Seventh ain't getting shit from him.
Yeah, that's right. Now he technically is a millionaire because he's going to inherit that fortune thanks to Eleanor murdering his. It was his uncle, right?
Yeah, Armand the Third was his uncle.
So yes, technically that is correct that he is now a millionaire.
He's just a dumb himbo millionaire, and I absolutely love him. And I really hope the next time we see him and Kate have a very great stepfather stepdaughter relationship.
Honestly, having him as like an adopted father would be kind of cool, especially because
He
after
could teach her sword fighting too.
yeah, especially because after he was released from jail, they still had like a semi-positive relationship.
Oh yeah, she was very apologetic for blaming Jack for Armand's murder, and he was just his whole thing was just like, "Oh, I'm fine, sweetie," as he's stabbing people in the middle of Rockefeller Plaza.
Yeah.
Also, I really like the imagery of Jack joining the LARPers.
Yeah.
I'm just imagining him and Grills and all of them in Central Park, just just LARPing together. He's like, "On guard!" Jack was amazing.
Yeah.
Honestly, same thing with Enrique, or was it Tomas? One of the two, whose girlfriend hated Imagine Dragons.
That was a subtle payoff that I did not know I wanted.
Oh god, this show was really good.
It didn't deserve to be as funny as it was.
It really didn't. The only character that disappointed me was Kazi, but I have a sneaking suspicion he may not be dead.
Yeah.
The way he died, it never you know how when a character dies, you see them go and then die, and the character lays them down on the ground.
Yeah.
We never see that part.
I'm gonna disagree with you, and I'm just gonna say that he's dead. See,
it's 50-50 for me.
See, I don't want to fake out deaths in this show. I would rather just have Kingpin and Vaughn. Especially because, in the grand scheme of things, I don't really see Kazi having much of a plot impact. Though, then again, lesser characters have had better fake outs.
Yeah. So here's what I think. It's 50-50. Either he's dead or he's alive. If he's alive, I think he's gonna lose his mind. Like, I think he's gonna be insane the next time we see him because in the comics, Kazi is a straight psychopath. Like, to give you a perspective, when he fought Clint in the comics, he took his arrows and drilled them into Clint's eardrums. He's a psycho. So I can very much see Kazi as someone that lives, and he's now lost everything. He lost the tracksuits. He's lost the tracksuits. He's lost Maya. He lost to. He's lost everything. He has nothing.
Yeah, you think in a similar vein to what was it? What was his name? Punisher season 2.
Um,
Uh,
Jigsaw.
yeah, Jigsaw. You think in a similar aspect to him?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I
Except
think.
without the forced amnesia.
Oh God, I hate forced amnesia as a writing crutch. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that wraps up most of our opinions. I think.
Oh wait, one thing: the Agent 19 reveal.
It's been a while. You'll probably have to run that by me again.
So at the end of the season, we find out that Laura Barton, as we all
Okay,
suspected,
now
was a SHIELD agent with the codename Agent 19. And some people like to believe that, oh my god, this decanonizes Agents of SHIELD, blah, 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 because in the comics, Mockingbird was Agent 19. Oh my god. The answer is no. So, Laura Barton in the MCU is Agent 19. In the MCU, Bobby Morse has never been referred to by the name Agent 19, nor has she been referred to by the name Mockingbird. She's only been referred to in universe as Agent Morse. So, Laura Barton being Agent 19 does not in any way decanonize Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah. Well, I would say for the show, it's way fun. Like I said, way funnier than it deserved to be.
Oh, definitely.
Willing to give it a 7 out of 10.
Oh, yeah, I give it a 7 out of 10. It was really good.
Yeah. Well,
definitely the one with the, in my opinion, second strongest ending out of all the MCU Disney Plus shows we've had so far.
Yeah.
Definitely had a better ending than Falcon and the Winter Soldier and WandaVision.
Well, all of the shows beat WandaVision. Let's be honest here. As far as ending is concerned.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Well, I think we should end the segment by addressing some of the chats we got. So,
yes, so one of our chatters, so they mentioned some things such as yeah, the way we talk about COVID is the same way many people talk about the snap within the MCU.
So, yeah, they pretty much talk about it like I mean, let's be fair here. We're making fun of COVID in modern society right now. Like you see all of the God creating new COVID variants every 3 months meme.
Man, I remember when the COVID memes were just like the boomer deleter,
Oh, the boomer remover.
the boomer remover, and all that different stuff. And then everything got intense.
And then the other one I want to address is do either of you speak ASL? It's not just done with hands; it uses face and shoulders too. I think that was commenting on how we were talking about Maya's use of facial expressions.
Yeah.
We were more discussing the differences between Makari's and Maya's performance because
Yeah.
not only when she was playing ASL, like you could tell her emotions outside of her like signing.
Yeah.
So I would say her like facial expressions were much more intense than Makari's was.
Yeah.
So that's what our commentary was.
Yeah, it was more about the body language than the ASL itself.
Yeah, we are aware that that sign language does have the tendency to use facial expressions as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hey, leave Wanda alone. That was awesome.
Listen, Wanda herself is a very good character, but at the end of the day, WandaVision had a very disappointing ending with Ralph Bohner and Director Hayward being one of the worst villains in the MCU.
The worst. The worst.
Honestly, yeah, the worst villain in the
He
MCU.
shot at kids.
Honestly, I can't defend.
He gave orders to shoot at children.
Honestly, Director Hayward was. Here's the problem. It's not that anything he did was wrong leading up to the finale. He was just kind of a dick, and then he was like, "I will shoot at these random ass children."
Yeah, I will say, WandaVision still has the greatest first half of all the shows.
Oh, first half WandaVision was amazing. The way they set up the tension, the creep factor that came with you can tell there's something wrong, but you don't know what's wrong. Just the whole setup for it was so beautiful.
And then there are dialects and accents to ASL. That's why there's a difference. Okay, that's a fair point.
Yeah,
I think we can agree on that.
yes.
Yeah.
But overall, Hawkeye was amazing.
Yeah.
I think we should move on though.
Let's go ahead and move on to the big one, which was, of course,
Spider-Man No Way Home.
The worst kept secret in all of Hollywood.
Oh, yeah. So, everyone, I mean, people had been saying that the Daredevil and Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire were going to be in this movie for well over a year
now. Oh, yeah, we've known about this forever.
So
to finally see it in action, and let's just get the reviews out, or the scores out of the way. This is an immediate 9 out of 10.
Oh, yeah. 9 out of 10.
This was the best MCU movie in the past few years, and
it was...
I mean, mind you, that's not saying a lot, considering that includes all of COVID.
but it was just special.
Yeah.
Honestly, in a lot of ways.
Honestly, this is my third favorite MCU movie.
Yeah.
I mean, considering that the other two are Infinity War and Endgame above that, considering that, yeah, all three of these were just big event movies.
Yeah, it was... Spider-Man No Way Home was just phenomenal in a lot of ways. Just, first of all, I like the characterization of Peter this time around.
Oh, it gives him, a legitimate character arc to go through.
Yeah.
And it's, the culmination of all of his mistakes as a child, trying to juggle two lives together, finally culminating into one giant mess that he has to fix for himself. It's just... The scope of this is way bigger than we could have ever imagined.
Oh, definitely. I really liked his relationship with MJ this time. This is probably, in my opinion, the most we've gotten to see the two really interact and show off the chemistry that they have, which is off the charts, which makes sense because Tom Holland and Zendaya are dating in real life.
Which I actually hope will last, but based on how we've seen relationships between Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst and Andrew Garfield and
Emma Stone.
Wait,
those two also dated in real life?
Yes.
Wait!
And those two only lasted less than a year.
Wait, I didn't know that Tobey Maguire dated Kirsten Dunst and Andrew Garfield dated Emma Stone.
I think it was pretty obvious for Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone, but a little more hidden away for Tobey Maguire and Kirsten Dunst, because I think they dated for not even 2 months, but I have to look back into that.
Well,
so it was short-lived.
Short-lived, but I would say that it worked to their advantage in this movie between
sure.
Zendaya and Tom Holland.
And I also just hope that they stick to it because it actually looks like he cares about her in real life.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen the one clip where she was fixing her dress while on the red carpet and he blocks the press from being able to see her?
No, I haven't.
No, that is a genuine caring moment right there.
Yeah. My favorite thing about them is it was a picture of her and Tom at a swimming pool, and you can only see Tom's head coming out of the water, and someone's just like, Tom is drowning. She's like, this isn't about him. But anyways, back to the movie itself. The relationship between Peter and MJ this time around was just really great. You can really tell that the two have genuine feelings for each other and that they're trying to make it work, despite all of the bullshit they get put through, she is really dedicated to making this work just as much as he is.
Yes.
And you could tell that she really loves both sides of him, both Peter and Spider-Man, because she's willing to help both, regardless of the situation.
And which is a big part in like the original Tobey Maguire trilogy is like that the fact that he couldn't juggle the fact that he had to keep his identity away from MJ for all that time.
Yeah.
Which I mean did happen in the first and second movie, but it was very short-lived. And
Yeah.
unlike Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, where he actually had difficulty meshing the two lives with her, Tom Holland's Spider-Man had much easier time, and I think that was just an element of the fact that their relationship was so well defined.
Yeah. I mean, this girl jumped in front of Stephen Strange after Spider-Man stole that cube. Like, that is a girl that is a ride or die. She's willing to fight off Doctor Strange, knowing damn well she can't do a damn thing to him.
Yeah.
But oh god, I could go on about their relationship because it was so adorable and it was so impactful, and I just loved every second of the two of them interacting. But there's so much greatness in this movie. The villains were all amazing. I would say the weakest one, in my opinion, was Sandman.
Yeah, especially because like they didn't bring the actual actor in or Lizard. I put them two in this. And actually, you think that Sandman was stronger than Lizard
In terms of character or power level?
in terms of character?
Oh, in character, I think it's Lizard.
Yeah.
Just because Lizard is hilarious. The way he's just very upfront about the fact that, yeah, I wanted to turn everyone into lizards, and I'll do it again. I'll turn all of you into lizards. Or the way he's just like looking at MJ and Peter, he's like, there's no way that's his girlfriend. No shot. Or just when Peter's getting his ass demolished by Green Goblin, he just comes out of nowhere. He's like, I told you there'd be consequences, and he like throws him through a window and then disappears.
Yeah. Though his role is overshadowed by other villains doing the exact same thing.
I mean,
like,
the main three.
Like, Electro does the funny man role way better than Lizard.
Oh, he does, but I thought Lizard was just a good novelty.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
whenever he
can't have the movie without him, let's be fair.
Yeah, this movie, I mean, I just really liked him. I also like the little detail that he ambushed Steven in the fucking sewers like a sewer gator.
And also the fact that they redesigned him to not look like a Goomba.
Oh, God.
Like, I swear, he looked like a Goomba from the 90s Mario movie in the original duology, and I swear that was so distracting.
Oh, yeah.
But let's return back to Sandman, because
he didn't really have much of a characterization. Like,
I would say his character... Actually, I would say, yeah, I do agree that his character is much weaker as far as, like, character arc, because I feel like the writers had no idea what to do with him, considering the fact that
he's just in his sand form.
He's just in his sand form, so the actor doesn't come to perform, and also, he just turns evil on a whim.
It's less that he was evil, and more like he just didn't trust this Peter.
Yeah, which, based on how it was written in the story, fine. But I feel like it was just a cop-out on the writer's part when they definitely could have used him as an ally.
Yeah, I did.
And it's just a huge contradiction to how we've seen him in the previous movie, like, completely already gone through his character arc and all of that.
Yeah, but then again, you do have to remember that this one was taken... When was this Sandman taken?
That's the thing. Because it's after he goes through his character arc and apologizes.
It has to be because when he sees Tom Holland Spider-Man, he's like, hey, it's me. Hey, Peter, it's me, Sandman. I don't know what's going on, but I'm here to help.
Yeah, because it's after he apologizes to Peter in the original trilogy.
It has to be because he's on good terms with Peter.
Yeah, like he's already apologized for murdering Uncle Ben.
Yeah.
And so, like, it's very weird, and wish they could have handled his character better. But let's just move on
I,
because we
I will
have.
say the best scene with Sandman was when he sat on Happy's couch and sand got everywhere and he tried to wipe it away, but more sand got on it because he's just entirely sand.
It's unfortunate that that's the best scene with him, honestly.
It was the best scene with him, but at the same time, he definitely served the purpose in terms of he is by far, in my opinion, the strongest, if not the second strongest member of the five.
Yeah, but I do want to move to Electro.
Yes.
Somehow they made it. They made changes to a character without pissing off the fan base, which good on them.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx's Electro this time around was amazing. He
Especially because like this was the only character where they decided to change the power set because of the fact that he's in a new universe, and
exactly.
of course it definitely benefited him because no more Blue Man with abhorrent amount of CGI.
Yeah, now he actually gets to keep his human form, but he gets to form the crown that he has in the
Yeah,
comics out of electricity
I
this
noticed
time.
that on my second viewing, like the fact that he's got like the comics like little face mask that he has whenever he like surges in electricity.
Yeah, I
I thought,
really like the addition of giving him an arc reactor.
yeah,
I think it makes a lot of sense that he would try and take an arc reactor. And I do like how the arc reactor ends up in Doc Ock's hands at the end.
yeah, it helps him out because he could stay alive in his timeline and actually benefit society with that.
Yeah, but back to Electro, I think they did a really good job of showing what being Electro did for Maxwell Dillon. Cause he's a he's a dork. He's a nerd. He's a Spider-Man fanboy in the Amazing Spider-Man 2, but he feels like he's nothing. He feels like a loser.
And then
But when he's Electro,
he finally gets a sense of real power,
he feels like he's a rock star.
and then he gets put into a new universe with an even stronger power set.
And no one knows him. He can be whatever he wants.
Yeah,
Like, for him, this is paradise. He gets to be the ultimate rock star. Like, he's so powerful. His body has changed. Like, now he's more attractive. He has like he's more toned. Like, this new energy is just fueling his new form. Like, for him, this is the greatest thing that's ever happened to him.
yeah, and oh
And
god,
so when he like has his final talk with Andrew Garfield, Spider-Man, you realize that like, man, like he's like his whole thing is just he doesn't want to go back to being a loser.
yeah,
He just doesn't want to be a loser.
and like the obvious nod to Miles Morales, him really hoping there was a black Spider-Man.
Yeah,
That was that was a bit on the nose, but we do appreciate it.
yes, it's really funny because Miles does exist in the MCU.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, because we saw Aaron Davis played by Childish Gambino back in Homecoming, and there's a deleted scene in Homecoming where Aaron is still strapped to the car and he's on the phone. He's like, "Hey Miles, I'm not gonna make it today. I got tied up." And you see him
It
trying to pull the
it's
webbing off.
yeah, it's it's a bit early to be revealing that kind of character yet in the MCU.
I mean, the fact of the matter is that he's already been revealed by virtue of the fact that Aaron mentions he has a nephew within the film.
Yeah,
So we know that Miles Morales
but like
exists.
in like actual like cinema.
Yeah. Oh, we're not going to see him physically present, but like we know he's running around there. We know a
Yeah.
Black Spider-Man will inevitably come around.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I think that Miles Morales, if he does show up, will be in the Spider-Man 789 if we ever get that far.
Yeah.
I think he would be there because I believe the next phase in Peter's Peter's development after this trilogy, after the 4, 5, 6 trilogy, will be him being a mentor.
Yeah.
But back to villains. Electro was hilarious. He was amazing, and by far the most powerful one of them all.
Oh, he could solo all three Spider-Man.
Not just solo all three Spider-Man, he could kill all three Spider-Man and the other four villains.
Oh yeah.
He was by far the strongest one.
I mean, the
And
only one I see having a chance is Green Goblin.
no, the only one I see having a chance is Sandman.
Yeah.
What can Sand like the only one that really has a chance is Sandman because Sandman is sand. He's nothing but sand. There's no body. Goblin will get electrocuted if you hit him hard enough. he's still flesh and bone.
Yeah.
So I think the strongest villains were Electro, Sandman, Goblin, um, Goblin, um,
Doc
Doc
Ock.
Ock, and I would say Doc Ock then Lizard, but Lizard could definitely tear Doc's head off if he just avoids the arms. If he avoids the arms and just like grabs his body, oh, he's done.
Yeah. Which now let's move on to Doc Ock. Which the fact that they actually give like a satisfying ending to his character,
Yes.
it's well deserved because he does get a redemption at the end of Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
And so to have that replicated in this movie so he can go back to his universe and prevent the whatever machine, his machine
Yeah.
from like overloading in his universe would be very satisfying for his character for sure.
Yes, the power of the sun in the palm of his hands.
Oh god.
In the form of the arc reactor, which I think he took it with him, right?
Oh yeah.
It
Yeah.
was still in his hands when the spell went off, right?
Yeah.
So when he returns, there will be just a timeline where we have a Doc Ock with an arc reactor and a fixed neural link working with Peter Parker as Spider-Man,
Oh
as a
yeah.
hero.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
I thought he was characterized amazing. I liked how his banter with Peter on the bridge, where he's just like, "Oh, looks like we got competition with these arms."
And also like the fact that like the symmetry between two Spider-Men that he's interacted with, like, oh yeah, I should have killed your girlfriend when I had the chance. Like that pissed off Tom Holland Spider-Man a lot, even
Yeah,
though he had no idea he was not talking to him.
yeah. And then it was also just like, "So what's your name, Doctor Otto Octavius?"
And just the realization of how goofy of a name that is.
Yes. But then my other favorite part was just like, "So you know a Peter Parker?" Yes. Does your Peter Parker look like that? No.
Yeah, but of course, we must talk about the highlight of the show.
Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin.
Holy crap. This man outperformed every single actor in this whole movie.
Honestly, he did. He was amazing.
And just when he snapped into the Goblin personality,
In the way I love the filming of Peter Spottersense detecting the Goblin personality forming, because he's just like, something's wrong. I don't know what's wrong, but something's wrong. And in the time, you see him walk around the room, but you don't see Norman. You don't see him, but then he starts coming into frame more. And then you start realizing, that's not Norman. Oh god, it's not Norman.
yeah,
It was
and just
so good.
and the fact they don't like shy away from how psychotic he is,
Oh god. The way Spider-Man was just punching him in the hallway and he just starts laughing over and over again before
and
just
just tosses it back by suplexing him through 3 floors.
god, no, that was a power bomb. He power bombed him through 3 floors. He threw him up. What, like, I've rewatched that scene on YouTube so many times. He grabs him, throws him upwards. He hits the ceiling, bouncing off of it so he goes downwards, and then uses the momentum and gravity of him falling downwards to power bomb him through the floor, 3 stories. That is ridiculous.
Yeah, and just the choreography was actually really good for an MCU movie.
Oh, it was so good. It was so brutal.
Because
Each fight the two of them had was so brutal.
Because I will say, the MCU fight choreography can be a bit uncreative at times. For as much as I hate the DCEU, as goofy as some of the fight choreography is, at least it's creative, and I can say that it is just as creative in this movie.
Oh yeah. I think working with Spider-Man and his villains gives a lot of creativity for movement because
Yeah.
they all move in their own unique ways as well. That's the really interesting part.
Like
That
you saw when Tom Holland Spider-Man literally was in the air, shot down his webbing, and literally dragged himself on the floor to kick Green Goblin into the floor.
Yeah.
That was the most creative out of just all of the choreography in
Oh,
my opinion.
it was
Besides the power bomb.
The power bombing
Because
wasn't.
it was just so brutal and you don't see it coming.
Yeah, you just don't. I was just like, when I was in the movie, I was like, holy shit, he's fucking killing him. Like he was just brutal. But oh god, it was Norman Osborn was amazing. I really liked the flip Norman and Norman and Green Goblin, and I also liked his interactions with Aunt May because I think that was a nod to Aunt May. In the comics, it wasn't that Aunt May. No, that wasn't the nod. The nod was when when May asked Doc Ock want salt water or fresh water.
Yeah.
So those two like interacting in that way is a nod to the fact that in the comics, Aunt May and Aunt May and Doc Ock hooked up.
Honestly, I could see it.
So yeah,
Yeah.
but
But
Aunt
it
May,
must be weird seeing like Aunt May 30 years younger than what you're used to seeing her as.
yeah. But Marcy Tomei, she played her really well, and in this movie, I think she played her the best. Partially because this was the one that we got the most screen time with her. In fact,
Yep.
she was really she acted the hell out of Aunt May. I was genuinely sad when she died.
Yeah, I do want to talk about that because I've seen a lot of like deaths that influence character motivation. This is the hardest I've ever seen one go in any movie.
I
In
really
any superhero movie I've seen. Like, of course, we see deaths motivate characters all the time. This is the hardest I've seen it go, despite the fact that we've seen this 3 times over, which leads me to believe that, oh, they're just going to replicate the Uncle Ben death, but with Aunt May this time.
yeah, and it worked so well. Like part of me was just like, don't, please don't kill her, please. Like this was the one time like I sat there, like seeing a character death and seeing they're dying and knowing in my heart that she is dying, but hoping to God somehow, some way she doesn't die.
And, like, you can see the realization in her when she looks at her hand shaking.
Yeah,
Like, she realized she's not okay.
she's like, I'm dying,
Yeah.
and God, it's
That that
such a
was
gut punch.
that was one of the hardest gut punches I've ever had in a movie for sure.
It was, and I actually really like that Aunt May is the Uncle Ben for Peter this time around.
Yeah.
And I really like that she said that she didn't just say with great power there must be great responsibility. She said the original line from the
Yeah.
comics. Like
Which,
the
when I
whole
first heard it, I was like, okay, Marvel, you're being a little too on the nose here. But then seeing the payoff, I was like, okay, I can accept this.
I can accept it as well because it was not just it was the original line from the
That's
comics.
what rubbed me off in the wrong way, is that it was kind of shoehorned in. Like I could feel it being shoehorned in, but the payoff for
Yeah.
when Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man finished the line,
Yeah.
it's like, okay, this payoff I can use. That's enough justification to put this line.
Yeah. Especially because like we've had hints that Peter is trying to grasp the whole great power, great responsibility thing
Yeah,
between what happened with him in Homecoming, with how he was during Infinity War, how
yeah.
he was acting during Far From Home, and now in this movie, you can really tell he's really trying to grasp the power and responsibility part.
Because in the previous 2 movies, he hasn't had to carry much responsibility because he could rely on Tony, he could rely on Happy, he could rely on Edith, but now he's
Yes,
got none of that.
exactly. And it was just God. And I really loved Happy. Like when he pulled up and he saw that Aunt May was dying, he could have done a number of different things, but his first thing was just screaming at Peter to run.
Like he could have done so many out of character things. Like he could have just started crying uncontrollably. He could be yelling at Peter, blaming him, but no. What he did, and I really compliment the writers for this, is his first thought is, "Oh shit,
He,
Peter he is so screwed right now."
he's like, Peter needs to get out of here. Like, above all else, I need to make sure he's out. I need to make sure he
'Cause
gets out of here.
it is so easy for a writer to screw up that scene, and somehow they made the right decision on that one.
Yeah, honestly, I really loved the characterization of Happy in the movie, and this movie just was really good to all of its characters.
Yeah.
Um, so of course we need to talk about the big three.
Yeah.
Matt Murdock. We all knew he was coming.
Yeah.
And he showed up very briefly in the movie, and he didn't disappoint.
Yeah, also showing off his power set somehow.
Not just that, but that his reactions are faster than Spider-Man's spider sense.
Which is insane.
Yeah, like, you see that Peter moves his hand to grab the brick, but Matt already has caught it. Which is insane.
Yeah.
So, because of his appearance in this, there's been talk of the rumor mill that Matt Murdock will be appearing in a number of different Marvel Marvel projects, and that he may be like the Nick Fury for this phase. And I think I figured out how. In that the biggest thing is that he's rumored to show up in Armor Wars. And I think he'll show up in Armor Wars as Happy's lawyer.
Yeah, he definitely hinted at the fact that he needed a really good lawyer, and then afterwards, says, "I'm a really good lawyer."
Yeah, not just that. He's probably showing up in She-Hulk.
Oh,
I would love
out.
to see a trial between him and Jennifer Walters. I believe there's going to be a trial between the two of them.
Oh, and then even better would be Jennifer Walters defending Jessica Jones.
Oh God. No, I feel like it would be Matt defending Jessica though, just because they actually have history, and he technically he technically is her legal counsel from Defenders.
Fair, but it would still be much funnier if it went that way.
True. Some people have said he's going to show up in Moon Knight. Don't know how that's going to work. I mean, it could work. Mass vigilantes and all. I've heard
it could, because I can see Moon Knight's hunt for justice being extremely chaotic and uncontrollable.
Yeah.
So I can see a conflict where Daredevil would need to return.
Yeah. So I've heard him appearing in Moon Knight. I've heard of him appearing in Armor Wars. I've heard of him appearing in She-Hulk. And I've also heard of him appearing in Black Panther, Wakanda Forever.
I am so worried for that movie. I am not gonna lie. The amount of...
We will get to that as soon as we finish our Spider-Man subject. But just to speak on the future of Matt... Oh, yeah, and he's probably going to be an Echo.
Yeah, I could see it.
That one's a given. But overall, Matt being in this movie was good. And it definitely looks like him being a lawyer may be where his character is going to be going for a bit in the MCU. Because we've seen him be Daredevil full-time for a while. Between Daredevil Season 2, Defenders, and Daredevil Season 3. Now it's time to see Matt Murdock for a while.
Yeah. I mean, either way, any excuse to put the Defenders in crosspaths with the main MCU cast will always be a plus for me.
Oh, definitely.
Especially because we didn't get the moment where all of the Defenders show up in Endgame, and of course we were all mad at that.
Yeah. The next character we need to talk about is, of course, Tobey Maguire.
Yes.
He was good. He definitely gave off the very old, not jaded, but a little bit rough on the edges Spider-Man.
Yeah.
The one that's definitely seen some things and he's a little bit cynical at times.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, for the two Spider-Men that appeared in the movie, they handled their characterization very well.
I really thought Tobey Maguire was really good. I really like that he feels a lot of guilt over Norman's death and that he's pondered an anti-Goblin serum.
Yeah.
A lot, because it makes sense that, like, his whole relationship with the Osborn family across the trilogy really is one of his greatest failures.
Yeah, because two members of that family have taken that super soldier serum. It's not the same thing.
It's the Goblin serum is what it's called.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one of the big things that weighs on his character because it carries across all three movies. Because
Yeah.
it's of course with Green Goblin in the first movie. Harry's character develops hatred for him in the second movie.
And then in the third one, he's the new Goblin.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was good seeing him, and it was good seeing that he has mulled over like his previous failures with the Osborn family, and it was good to see him interact with Dr. Octavius at the end, where he's just like, "You've, you've gotten older," and he's like, I'm just doing the best that I can," which is
Yeah.
obviously a beautiful reference.
Yeah. Yeah. Because it's pretty much word for word what happened in the original Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
I will say, when I have been brain poisoned by so many Bully Maguire edits that I swear when he first walked out of that portal, I swear to God, I was thinking, oh God, he's gonna say, I had to beat up an old lady with a stick to get over here.
oh
I swear to
god,
God, I was wholeheartedly expecting that, even though
oh
it made no sense in the
yeah.
movie.
The Bully Maguire memes, gee, they were so timely too. They lasted just long enough for his return.
But let's let anything to talk more about Toby before we move on to Andrew Garfield.
I think his performance was great, but I really have to give it to Andrew Garfield because he brought his A game. He, like, you could
Oh,
tell he had the most writing on this performance. He needed to prove not
like
just
it,
to himself, you could tell that not just that the Peter from The Amazing Spider Man has a lot to prove to himself and to the other Peters, but Andrew Garfield has a lot to prove that he was a good Spider-Man.
yes, he definitely needed to prove that. And the first minute of his appearance, like his characterization was on point. The fact that he was like so like overexcited about learning these new things is in part for his character because in The Amazing Spider-Man, he is a scientific genius.
Yeah,
Like, and he definitely is like one to go in depth to a lot of scientific discoveries. Like, hell, he literally obsessed about like fixing the lizard experiment.
yeah. Um, I remember when Amazing Spider-Man was coming out, a lot of people complained that Andrew Garfield was too hot to play to play Spider-Man.
See, I just took that as they need to wait until we see college Spider-Man.
Yeah, but they
Like,
said he was too hot. But now seeing him like in this one, I think he works perfectly. He really gives off the huge socially awkward dork. Like he really gave it off this time, and it just played
like
perfectly
his
in
like
all of
again
his regular
his
scenes.
excitement about multiverse theory and quantum entanglement and magic existing, that was in character for him so much. But I do really want to talk about his his scene with him reacting to Tom Holland's Spider-Man saying, no, you don't understand what I'm going through, when in fact he's the one that immediately understands what's going on. And like his performance in that scene, like where he says, "I grew bitter," like that was
I started to stop pulling my punches. I stopped pulling my punches
like
with the implication that he probably killed people.
yeah, like that was an amazing performance if I've ever seen one from a Spider-Man actor.
Yeah.
That was really good.
I also obviously we have to talk about when he saved MJ as a big redemption for how he well let it's not like he let her die, but like how he failed to save Gwen.
Oh yeah,
The way
every
he,
time I went to the theater because I've seen this movie 4 times already. Every time the audience reacted like they all gasped and then immediately cheered as soon as he jumped out to save her.
yeah. I will say that when Andrew Garfield first appeared, my theater erupted and I uncontrollably let out a scream. I was so excited. Like I have never the only time I've uncontrollably screamed while watching a movie was seeing Cap pick up Mjolnir and when seeing Andrew Garfield come through that portal.
Yeah.
I cannot replicate that scream. It was just so it was just amazing seeing him. It was so exciting. The tension build up. The theater was amazing. It was just perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Honestly, yeah, he stole the show compared to Tobey Maguire.
Oh, he definitely did. And I honestly, it worked. His performance was so good that there are talks of him returning
which
in
I
other projects.
which I wouldn't be opposed to.
Uh, Other projects are rumored that he may appear in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, obviously as just a cameo.
Yeah.
He wouldn't be a main character, but it may be appearing as a
But I mean,
cameo.
the rumor mill is full of characters for that movie, and I don't want to touch that.
Yeah, but there's also rumors. So, I really wanted to talk about this. So, Morbius, if it was on schedule, would have come out 2 weeks from now or 1 week.
Yeah, because it did get delayed again, right?
It got delayed till April.
Ugh.
It got delayed till April. And so, what if the Spider-Man of Sony's Spider-Man universe is Andrew Garfield?
Honestly, I'm willing to do that because now Sony knows how to write Spider-Man.
But not just that. You know how in Morbius we see a Spider-Man with murderer put across it?
Yeah.
Now, obviously, that's supposed to be a tie-in initially for Tom Holland Spider-Man being the murderer of Mysterio. But it can now work for Andrew Garfield because he has killed people.
But there has been speculation that it's always been Andrew Garfield because of the fact that up until No Way Home, Tom Holland's never worn a blue suit. It's always been red and black.
So the thing is that the render that was used is not even from Amazing Spider-Man; it's from a video game, and the general consensus was that it's placeholder.
Yeah.
It was just a placeholder image. It's not actually what was going to be in the movie. So while I did hear some people say it was going to be Andrew Garfield, the majority of people assumed that it would be replaced come the movie. But now, what if? What if he is the Spider-Man that we'll see? Because he's right now the only Spider-Man that hasn't interacted with Venom. I mean, Tom Holland hasn't, but given what we see in the post-credits scene, he will be very soon.
Yeah, which that'll be something else.
And so, what if what if Andrew Garfield is the one that will show up in Morbius?
Honestly, I could see it, especially with the fact that, as disappointing as it is, the end credit scene cheaped out on us, and I'm upset for it.
I really am, especially given what we now know of the original script for No Way Home, which was that there have been several changes from the what we got in the original script. One of which is that since this movie was originally a sequel to Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness and not a prequel, we were originally going to see characters like Wanda and America Chavez in this. And in fact, the one to do the multiversal spell was going to be America Chavez. So how it was originally supposed to work is that on the heels of Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where America would have been taken in and trained as a master of the mystic arts, we don't know if that's ever going to be. We don't know if that's going to be the ending for the movie now, but that was what was supposed to be the ending back when Scott Derrickson was writing the movie. Was that America Chavez was supposed to be training to become a master of Mr. Arts. When Tom Holland Spider-Man comes to ask for the wish, she's the one that says she'll do it, and which would make more sense because her power is creating portals through the multiverse, and she would screw up the spell, and it would bring over people through the multiverse. And that in that time, Kristen Durst, MJ, and Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy were also going to come through the portals.
Yeah.
Not just that Eddie Brock was going to land in New York City, and he was initially going to fight the Spider-Men, but then realizing they're good guys, he was going to join them in the final battle. It was going to be a 4-on-4 with the 3 Spider-Men and Venom fighting Doc Ock, who is now controlled. They fix him, but then he would be they would reassert control over him over the chip. Norman would have hacked the chip to make it so that he's fixed, but then he would overwrite it so he now has control over Doc Ock. And it would have been Green Goblin, Doc Ock, Electro, and Sandman versus the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, our Spider-Man, and Venom. And that America was also going to show up in the finale alongside Ned, MJ, and Gwen.
Yeah. Well, as far as the original script is concerned, I am glad.
Also, Lizard was supposed to be there too.
Yeah, I am glad that they decided to move to Doctor Strange because I feel like it suits the character arc for Tom Holland Spider-Man much more. And we had this discussion off stream before, but I do think it fits his character arc more solely because of the fact that the blame would be set more on him, and thus his need to take responsibility for his actions is much deeper for him, rather than because, of course, America Chavez's power being traveling through dimensions, it would have been on her mistake.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't as seasoned of a sorcerer as Doctor Strange, some of the blame would be placed on her and not Tom Holland.
Yeah.
So, honestly, the fact that they went with Doctor Strange suits the narrative more.
It definitely suits the narrative more. And I think they originally penned it for America Chavez because I believe there were probably... Now, this is just speculation on my part. I believe the path to the Young Avengers was far clearer this time around. Not this time. Back then, the path to the Young Avengers was much clearer, but now it's a lot more hazy, given delays due to COVID and everything.
Yeah.
So now we don't know how the path to the Young Avengers is going to work. But that original script sounds really cool as well. Wanda was also supposed to make an appearance in the movie. I don't know in what capacity. Assuming since this would be post Multiverse of Madness, this would be a good Wanda. Presumably, she wouldn't have the Darkhold anymore. So, this would have just been... I don't know what Wanda would have been doing. Maybe she would have been with America trying to help her fix things alongside Spider-Man.
Not gonna lie, I kind of want Wanda to go crazy in the next movie.
She is.
Like,
let's be honest here. In the Multiverse of Madness, Wanda is going to lose her collective shit.
Yeah.
That woman has been through far too much in her life. And at this point, the pressure's just mounted. Like, everything is just... She's gone through so much that she's reached her breaking point. I mean, we saw her already at a breaking point when she created the Hex, but even that caused problems for her. Like, she has suffered so much. And now she was living in peace, given what we see of the trailer, and let's be honest here, Doctor Strange is pulling her into some bullshit. Doctor Strange is pulling her into some bullshit, and it's going to be too much.
Yeah.
She has been through way too much, and Doctor Strange is going to pull her into some bullshit.
Into multiversal BS.
Yeah. But overall, Spider-Man Far From Home, 9 out of 10.
Without a...
Not Far From Home. No Way Home! Far From Home was not a 9 out of 10. No Way Home was a 9 out of 10.
I would say Far From Home was an 8 out of 10.
Yeah. The thing that really saved Far From Home for me was the 2 scenes with Mysterio's illusions. The one where Peter gets his shit rocked, and the one where Peter uses his spider sense to navigate through the illusion. Those 2 scenes absolutely saved that movie for me.
Oh, yeah.
But anyways, No Way Home, 9 out of 10. Great movie, great cast, great cinematography. The only downside is the end credit scene, but even then, it sets up a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, we didn't even talk about the fact that the ending is Peter's on his own.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, without a doubt, we do have to talk about that. Because, like, it's a very bittersweet ending, and it's definitely difficult to swallow, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I feel so bad for him. Like, you could tell he really wanted to tell MJ and hope it would jog her memory. But once he saw the bandage, he realized that he would just bring her back to pain. But I feel there's another layer in the sense that it wasn't going to work.
Yeah.
She would have looked at him like he's crazy. So it was really sad.
And also, both her and Ned have a path to success in going to MIT.
Yeah. And so... He's going to be by himself. And now we're finally going to get the Spider-Man that everyone has been clamoring for since the very beginning. A Spider-Man that is only going to be able to operate in New York with no Stark suits, no Stark glasses, no Avengers to back him up. It's just going to be him, and that's it.
This is a really long origin story, not gonna lie.
It was the most elaborate origin story that Marvel has done yet, but I think it paid off.
Yeah.
I believe that we're going to be seeing some. I believe the next time we're going to be seeing villains, it's probably going to be. We're probably going to get a two. I think the next time we're going to get a love triangle for Peter, and it will be between Black Cat, who loves him for Spider Man, and Mary Jane Watson, or not Mary Jane Watson,
Michelle Jones Watson.
Michelle Jones Watson.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be between those two, but Michelle won't come back until the third movie.
Oh yeah. Let's
in
face
the
it.
trilogy.
Both her and Ned are coming back.
Oh yeah, her and Ned are coming back, but
Also,
I think
they made very obvious nods that they want to make Ned a villain later on.
I don't think they're making Ned a villain. I think they're circumventing that because in the comics, yes, Ned Leeds was Hobgoblin, but he was actually framed by the real Hobgoblin, which I believe was Richard Kingsley. So I think what they're actually doing is playing with the fact that Ned was Hobgoblin, which is why he's like, "I'll never betray you, Peter."
But
I don't think he's.
It can be very easily written so like it could be like a definitely like depressing story about a former. Well, then again, we have seen that plot twice in two other Spider-Man.
I don't think they're gonna go with that. I genuinely think Ned is actually just gonna be trained to be a wizard on the side. I think the next time we see Ned, he's just gonna know some magic. I think that's where his character will benefit, and if anything, I think we may see Harry again. And he will be played by the actor that played Paul Atreides in Doom.
That's actually a pretty good one.
I think that would be a great Harry Osborn. And I think
now that you say it, yeah.
And another thing that I think will happen is I think that the Venom we'll get in this universe will be Michael Mando's Mac Gargan. Because in the comics, Scorpion was Venom for a while. And I think this would be a new spin on Venom. Where instead of it being Eddie Brock, we're gonna get Mac Gargan. And I also believe at some point we will see Kraven the Hunter, and we will adapt the story where Kraven basically destroys Spider-Man, throws him in a grave, buries him, and we're going to get the iconic scene of Spider-Man clawing his way out of the grave. And I think that will be I think these will be some of the big moments of the new trilogy.
Yeah.
Overall, Spider-Man is looking like to be in a great place.
I mean, this movie could not have been adapted from a comic book storyline. There's no way that this can be compared. Like, this was just such an original idea.
Even though it did pull from many comic book storylines. It pulled from the Happy Birthday storyline, it pulls from the original Sinister Six, but it also pulls from the very maligned One More Day storyline. And the fact that this movie was able to adapt One More Day and make it not shit is a testament to the fact that this movie is amazing.
I mean, just so many original ideas in this movie. Like, yeah, of course, there's always going to be inspiration from other comics, but
yeah,
like there is no like one comic you can pull from that identifies the whole movie.
Oh yeah, definitely not. Like, you can only like adapt parts, like the whole memory thing. One More Day. Doctor Strange working with Peter Parker. That's from Happy Birthday. The fact that many Spider-Men came over. That's Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So yeah. But I thought it was great.
And a very monumental movie, because this movie is now the 6th highest grossing movie of all time.
In COVID at that.
In COVID as well.
Not even factoring China.
Yeah.
So, this movie was phenomenal. And I really hope Marvel carries this momentum into this year.
Yeah, without a doubt, because there
I
are a lot
feel
of
like a lot of people are hyping up Doctor Strange to be just as big as No Way Home. So I'm gonna
let's hope
I'm gonna
so.
temper my expectations accordingly.
Yeah.
Now moving on from No Way Home, I do want to bring up just some other Marvel news that's coming around. So to make up for the fact that Morbius has been delayed, Venom: Let There Be Carnage is returning to theaters.
Really?
Yeah, they're returning. They're returning to theaters for another run to make up to the fans that were excited for Morbius that was coming out around this time.
Huh.
So yes, we will be getting another run through of Venom: Let There Be Carnage. So if you missed the movie and you want to watch it and you want to see it in a theater, Godspeed. You can go watch it this month. They're making up the fact that we just couldn't see it and we couldn't see Morbius around this time. So there's that. Um many what is it? Hold on. There have been many other news, such as the fact that well, a lot of things are entering reshoots, like Moon Knight, Miss Marvel. Those things are coming into reshoots at this point. Also, Werewolf by Night has been confirmed to be the Halloween special that we're getting in October of this year.
Okay.
And who are they bringing in? I saw it yesterday, but they're bringing in Laura Donnelly and Gail Garcia Bernal, and they will be in Werewolf by Night.
Okay.
So we have that, as well as just toy leaks for Doctor Strange and for what's his face, Moon Knight. Uh, James Gunn talking about the holiday special and Guardians 3, saying that they're going to be very different mediums, not medium, very different vibes. So we have that. And let's talk about Black Panther.
Yeah, as unfortunate as it is having Chadwick Boseman recently passing and the uncertainty to the public of who's going to carry the mantle next, or if even there's going to be a passing of the torch at all, is very concerning because I am sensing a lot of bad vibes because observing the DCEU from a distance, I am seeing a lot of similarities.
Yeah, for one, we obviously have to talk about
Letitia Wright,
Letitia Wright, her anti-vax comments, which are very dangerous. Being
especially,
anti-vax is really bad, especially nowadays with Omicron sweeping across the world. I
well,
mean,
well, in all fairness, when she said it, it was in the midst of Delta, but that,
but Delta was still already worse than original COVID, so it was still very dumb.
yeah,
But she's sticking to her guns, and I've heard that's why she's not returned to set after her injury, is
yeah,
that she's refused to get vaccinated.
yeah, which is heavily irresponsible.
So there's that. There's just the general sense of since T'Challa didn't die in the MCU, it'd be kind of weird to structure a sequel off of his off-screen death.
Yeah,
I mean, we've even heard from Chadwick Boseman's brother that they should recast T'Challa,
yeah,
and yeah, this movie is a bit of a mess.
yeah, because who could you even? I mean, you could find a recasting, sure, but who would carry the same weight as
John
character?
Washington,
You think so?
yes.
Okay.
Either John or I would say John more than Denzel, but John Washington.
For those who don't know, I'm nodding in approval.
I think John Washington is a great actor, and I think he definitely could play T'Challa.
Yeah,
So John Washington.
yeah.
I just want I want the Washington father son duo in the MCU in some capacity. So if I can get John Washington as T'Challa, I'll take it.
Okay. Yeah, I can definitely see it.
I really like seeing him in Black Klansman, and he was also amazing in Tenet. So John Washington.
Oh man, I forgot he was in Black Klansman. Yeah, he was extremely good in that movie.
Yes. The other person that I could see, I don't think I could see him being T'Challa, but I would love to see him in Marvel is Lakeith Stanfield.
I don't think I'm familiar with him.
Lakeith Stanfield, he was in Sorry to Bother You.
Oh,
He was amazing in that movie.
I mean, that movie was like that movie is designed to turn you into a communist, and I love
I love it.
it.
But Lakeith Stanfield, he was in that one. He was in Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler.
That is a wow. You are pulling out all the good movies today.
He was in. He was also in this other movie with Idris Elba and Jonathan Majors. It was a western, which his name is escaping me. And he was one of the villains in that one, and he was pretty good.
Yeah, that one's escaping me too. I don't think I know what you're talking about.
It was a good movie. It had Halle Berry. No, not Halle Berry. Fuck. It had who's the girl that played Domino in
Oh
Deadpool 2?
God, what is her name?
I forgot her name. It had her, had Jonathan Majors, had Idris Elba, had Lakeith Stanfield. It was great.
Yeah,
It was a great movie.
but returning.
I did not like the ending. I thought the ending plot twist was way too predictable, and I think it hampered the narrative. But it was a really fun movie. But anyways, Lakeith Stanfield, please put him in the MCU. I want to see him. He's such a great actor, and we need more black actors. I'd love to see him in because he's great. I love the way he acts.
But returning back on topic here, just both of us are very concerned about the future of the Black Panther IP
Yeah,
in the MCU
I really am.
because I have a sense that like these reshoots are going to cause a lot of problems because I've seen this before in the DCEU, and that's how we got Suicide Squad.
And the movie is supposed to come out this year.
Yeah,
I really feel like they need to push this movie back.
they desperately do.
I really want them to push this movie back. I think that would be for the best. Honestly, just push the movie back.
Like, if they keep going this way, like, if they're going to release it this year, this movie is going to be worse than Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah.
And that is.
And I think that would be a travesty to the legacy of not just Black Panther, but to Chadwick Boseman as well as to Ryan Coogler. The fact that he would, I could not, if Disney editorial and Disney management forces Ryan Coogler to go through with this movie, I'm afraid we may lose him as a director because this may not be the story he wants to tell.
Yeah.
So I really hope that they push this back and redo things because I mean they're not afraid to do that. I mean Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness is completely changed from what Scott Derrickson originally wanted, and now it's being run by Sam Raimi.
Yeah.
So I mean, who knows? So overall, I'm worried about Black Panther too.
Yeah, it's very concerning, and we can only hope for the best.
Yep. What else has gone on in Marvel? One other thing I was thinking. Oh yes, John Watts' next project is going to be Final Destination 6, and then after that it will be Fantastic Four. And they've already started looking for casting.
Oh boy. I am really hoping that they choose an older Mr. Fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of people have been saying we don't want to see the Fantastic Four origin story be them in college like they were in the Van Stick.
Oh god. Especially because who played Mr. Fantastic in the first movie? Was it
in the original ones?
Oh no, in Van Stick.
Oh, I don't care.
I think it was Miles Teller.
Maybe.
Because I just remember, I feel like that actor has the most punchable face, and I hate him.
Oh, he did.
I hate him so much.
He did. So
I don't know if it's Miles Teller, but I know I genuinely hate that specific actor.
I don't care to look it up.
Neither do I.
Also, one other thing. Do you think we'll see Michael Rooker in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3?
I mean, I'll say this. Guardians has had a pretty good track record of expanding characters. So, remember in the first movie, how Yondu and Nebula were barely touched on?
Yeah.
And then
So here's the thing, Yondu's dead. But James Gunn always has Michael Rooker in his movies.
Yeah.
Same thing with Nathan Fillion.
Yeah.
So I think we're gonna see Nathan Fillion again in I believe he's just been playing background and extra characters in the MCU. But I really think we're gonna see Yondu flashback just to fulfill the Michael Rooker quota.
Yeah. I mean, I will, like I was saying before, the Guardians series have done a really good job at expanding past characters. Like I said, Nebula and Yondu were developed like crazy in the second movie, despite not being good characters in the first one.
Yeah.
And that's why I'll say Guardians 2 is better than the original. You can fight me on that.
Oof.
I'm sorry, but the characterization in the second movie is much better.
Oh, well, for Yondu and Nebula, I agree.
No, for all the characters. I'm sorry,
Yeah.
you're going to have to fight me on that.
Yeah, I can't really argue that the characterization was better in Guardians 1. I really can't.
Exactly.
I just liked Guardians 1 more, but I cannot argue Guardians 2 was better for the characters.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why we'll stand on this hill and say Guardians 2 is better than 1.
I think Guardians 1 is better, but I cannot argue with your argument because you are right. The character development was just better in Guardians 2.
Yep.
So, moving off of Marvel, we need to talk about some other things that have happened since we last were on. We got a new Dragon Ball chapter.
Yeah. Oh, God, it's been a while since I've read that. We're going to have to do a quick little refresh on that little plot there.
So, the plot for that one was basically Granola versus Gas.
Actually, did we cover that in an episode yet?
No, the last thing we finished was Gas beating the shit out of Goku.
Right, and then the sensu bean was given to Granola.
Yeah, so this time Gas is finished beating the shit out of Goku, and now it's Gas versus Granola, and Gas really wants to beat Granola with the energy construct technique, which is still really cool.
Yeah.
He wants to beat him with that, but is failing, so he's now relying on instant transmission and Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And, Granola is fighting with Oatmeal in tandem, and it's just a fight chapter.
Yeah. I mean, the biggest development is the realization that Gas hasn't fully realized his power yet.
Yeah.
Just like in the fight with Goku and Vegeta versus Granola. It's the same exact thing. And I think that consistency is very helpful.
Yeah, it is very helpful.
It also gives them a chance to fight. Because, let's just face it, if Gas was fully developed in his capabilities,
that would be a bit disappointing.
That would be an absolute slaughter.
Yeah. I also really like the fact that, he has the same abilities as Granola. He was just choosing not to do it originally.
Yeah.
It was basically, I can beat you, but I wanted to see if I could beat you with my own techniques instead of relying on all the other broken shit I can do.
Yeah.
But since he's realized, you know what, that's not going to work, I'm going to use the broken shit too. The only difference is just that Granola has marginally better experience with instant transmission than Gas does. Marginally, because Granola has only had instant transmission for 2 weeks? Maybe even a week and a half?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, which the fact that all the characters are just spontaneously learning instant transmission, while believable.
Goku even comments, it's not fair.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it makes sense if you're going to be considered the strongest in the universe, and if they really are going to pull techniques from the strongest in the universe, then it makes sense that he'll know instant transmission, Hawkeye, and Moro magic.
But yeah, also just the fact that Vegeta refuses to use instant transmission.
Despite knowing it! He knows how to do it too!
I mean, he knows instant transmission and Force Spirit Fission, and just...
He'll only use the Force Spirit Fission.
Yeah.
I mean, it was the threat of Force Spirit Fission that made Granola not use clones against him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was a fight chapter. The big thing is obviously, Alec, what you doing? You said you have work to do, but you just used the Dragon Ball, so what are you doing? But we'll have to wait and see this month.
Yeah.
The new chapter comes out in 8 days?
Yeah.
So
not much to comment on this chapter. Of course, we're about 4 chapters in a row, 3 or 4 chapters in a row at this point where we've had fighting, so...
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll get plot developments in the future, but of course the fights will continue to be good as always.
Yes. We also had a new trailer for Dragon Ball Super Superhero. This one really confirming that the main character is going to be Gohan and Piccolo.
Which I'm very hesitantly excited about, because of the fact that, let's be fair here, the Dragon Ball franchise has not done a good job keeping Gohan at max power.
Yeah, but ever since Resurrection F, he has been training.
See, here's the thing. We see him, I want to train, plummets, I want to train, plummets, I want to train, and then plummets again.
He actually does. So that's actually a misconception. Throughout Super, he does not plummet after Resurrection F. He only gets stronger. He is trained because
well, maybe not in strength, but as far as relevance.
Oh, in relevance, yes, but in
That's
terms of actually keeping up with training, he has actually been very consistent throughout Super. After Resurrection F, he's training in the background, and we know he's training because we see at the end of the Future Trunks saga that right as Trunks is leaving, Gohan's late because he's training with Piccolo.
Yeah.
And then obviously we see him have a sparring match with Goku, and then we see him at the Tournament of Power, like pre-Tournament of Power, where he does image training, and then he trains with Piccolo. And then when it comes to the manga, as shown during the Galactic Patrol Prisoner arc, he was training, and that's why he was the third strongest person on Earth, and was very handedly kicking 7-3's ass before the magic. And then he trained even more in preparation for Moro's arrival, which led to him kicking 7-3's ass again.
Yeah. Well, I'm just hoping that from this point forward, his strength, or not strength, I'm sorry, that wasn't my point. His plot relevance stays consistent, because at least
he was somewhat relevant during the Moro.
I was about to say, the Moro arc has done a good job keeping his relevance in, and the Tournament of Power too. Though I do have some problems with his inclusion in the Tournament of Power. Or not his inclusion, I'm sorry. His use in the Tournament of Power.
Which version?
In the anime.
Really? In the manga, I felt he was less utilized compared to the anime.
See, it's more like I don't think they justified him having the leader role as opposed to Piccolo or Master Roshi.
I mean, he had a better leader role because he did come up with the strategy of staying together, and here's the thing though, he was able to improvise on the fly.
With Frieza, that is a good point.
He did it twice with Frieza. He also was able to work with Goku and Vegeta to trick Koshirator before they turned into Anilaza.
Yeah, which that's more an element of him being a good fighter.
But the sign of a good leader is flexibility. And he had that in spades throughout the fights.
Yeah, it just was very absent in the first half of the Tournament of Power.
Yeah, definitely during the first half it was absent, but during the second half, he really was able to take charge of situations. I mean, he was the one that was basically commanding Piccolo during the fight between Purina and Sayano.
Yeah, but I do really hope that this elevates his character a lot as far as plot relevance.
Yes.
I mean, of course, with dealing with Realm of the Gods, it's going to be very difficult to do.
Well, we're not. We're dealing with androids.
Yeah.
Which is Gohan's specialty.
I'm saying outside of this movie.
Oh yeah, outside of this movie, yes.
It's very difficult to make him plot relevant when we've got Goku and Vegeta who are on literal god tier.
Well, I mean, it wasn't for the Moro arc. You just give him opponents of his strength.
Yeah, that is fair.
Yeah, just give him opponents of his strength, and he's good to go.
I mean, but that'll get old very fast, because we've had that in the Tournament Power and the Moro arc.
But, I mean, at this point, that's kind of really what you gotta do. In a story like Dragon Ball, the only way characters remain relevant is if they can have fights with characters relative to their strength. So I do appreciate that they're doing this with Gohan. I like that they're not, once again, upping the stakes with another ultra-powerful character after Granola, and that when we're going to be facing Gamma 1 and Gamma 2, they're going to be more muted threats. They're going to be more threats that are Gohan speed.
Yeah.
Gohan and Piccolo will have time to shine. So I'm really excited for that.
Yeah.
I do think they're pulling a Battle of Gods where the trailers are showing him going Super Saiyan, but the actual movie will show him going Ultimate.
Yeah. I don't think he's going to be too depowered to the point where he can't go Ultimate again. That is definitely...
Well, Super has basically made Ultimate a transformation, so...
Pretty much.
So...
Which, please draw Ultimate good this time. I hated how they drew Ultimate form in Super.
Yeah.
Draw the bang correctly.
Yeah,
please.
they do
Please,
need
for
to
the
do
love
that.
of God, it's not that hard. It's literally 2 lines, and you put a bucket tool, and then you put the lighting on the top half, and it's done. Not you got to do the full bang, not this BS elbow macaroni that they stuck on top of his head.
Yeah, it does look like elbow macaroni. Anyways, so yeah, that was our Dragon Ball stuff.
Yeah.
The next thing we should talk about is the Book of Boba Fett.
For today's discussion, let's talk about the first 2 episodes.
Yes.
Only because of the fact that there's so much to talk about in those first 2 episodes,
Yeah.
and also the fact that we have not finished the 3rd episode.
Yes, we are almost done watching episode 3, but we couldn't finish it in time for the podcast, so we'll talk about that next week. But the first 2 episodes have been amazing.
Let's just get the first episode out of the way because, as a starter, it was very strong. Not gonna lie, I really liked it. Also, you pointed this out. Its use of wordless storytelling is unseen in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like we really don't have a lot of wordless storytelling. I can maybe think of 1 or 2 examples off the top of my head, but not really.
I think there may have been an episode of wordless storytelling in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, but I may be misremembering. Oh, there was wordless storytelling, not in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, but in Star Wars: Clone Wars, the 2003 cartoon made by the Samurai Jack creator.
Yeah, which is I believe it's Genndy Tartakovsky.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah, of course, wordless storytelling is the strongest form of visual media ever because it relies solely on you paying attention to every single detail that is included so that you understand everything the character is going through. And it was emphasized so much as Boba Fett was being abducted by the Tusken Raiders.
Yeah. First, he got robbed by Jawas.
Yeah.
Then he got abducted by Tuskens. Then he got enslaved by Tuskens. Then he saved the Tuskens.
Yeah. Which, oh boy, does that make you... The whole, character arc he goes through with the Tuskens... Actually, you know what? I'm going to save this for the episode 2 discussion.
So with episode 1, we get a lot of basically just establishing the world that Boba is in.
Yeah, and of course we do get the flashbacks, like we said, but the main point of episode 1 is establishing that he is now the crime lord on Tatooine.
Specifically, the daimyo of Mos Espa, the hometown of Anakin Skywalker, actually.
Yeah, and overtaking Jabba's rule now that he's dead.
Specifically taking over Baba's major domo, Bib Fortuna.
Yes.
Can you believe they made that guy a playable character in LEGO Star Wars?
They did?
Don't remember.
I'm not that familiar with LEGO Star Wars, not gonna lie.
He was a playable character.
I mean, based on what everyone says, I kind of have to play it.
No, LEGO Star Wars is amazing. You definitely should play it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so what he has now is he basically has him and Fennec Shand and a droid to start out.
And then he gets 2 Gamorrean guards.
Yeah, he gets 2 Gamorrean guards that were loyal to Jabba and Bib and now work for him because he spared their lives. Then he gets ambushed by, I believe it's the Order of the Night Wind or Night Wing?
Night Wind, I think.
Yes, he gets ambushed by the Order of the Night Wind after speaking with the mayor. Is it Mock Sharif?
I don't remember.
Well, I'll get his name right next episode. But the Ithorian. He's an Ithorian. So after meeting them, he gets ambushed by the Order of the Night Wind, and they're kind of chumps, to be perfectly honest with you. like when they're not ambushing, they got beaten straight up.
Yeah, especially as soon as the Gamorrean guard stepped in, they proved their loyalty really fast.
Oh yeah, they are 2 of my favorite side characters right now.
Yeah,
and it was just really good seeing Boba in action.
Yeah,
because I mean, in live action, we don't have Boba in action much in a live action format. We only have seen him in action in Mandalorian, really, because let's be honest here. him doing his little flying and shooting in Return of the Jedi wasn't much.
Yeah.
So it's really good to see the action that we saw in The Mandalorian get carried over to the show because it's really good and the set pieces for fighting was also really good.
Yes.
I also just like seeing just the details, such as the fact that the Trandoshans, like, yes, you had that one Trandoshan that came in to give tribute, but then you see the Trandoshans glaring at Boba Fett as he walks through Mos Espa. Like, it's very duplicitous.
Yeah. Honestly, episode 1, I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. Above average for sure. The use of wordless
I
storytelling.
think the wordless storytelling really is the thing that put episode 1 from an average opening to a great opening.
Oh, for sure.
The wordless storytelling was just phenomenal.
And then let's move on to episode 2,
which was by far my favorite episode of the season so far.
I'm just going to say it outright. Episode 2, much better than the entirety of Hawkeye.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Like,
undisputable.
This show, in my opinion, is better than all of the Marvel Disney Plus shows.
Yeah.
No, I like, straight up, I'm going to say this right now. Marvel movies, better than Star Wars movies, but Star Wars shows shits on Marvel shows.
Yeah. I mean, okay, you can't really compare the current Disney movies to the MCU movies. That's not even a fair comparison.
I don't care.
That's not even fair.
I'll take all 9 movies plus Solo, Rogue One, and Star Wars: The Clone Wars the movie, and I'll compare them to the MCU, and they're trash. And I will then compare Star Wars Rebels, Star Wars The Clone Wars, Star Wars Bad Batch, Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, and I'll compare it to all of the Marvel shows, Netflix, Hulu, and ABC combined, and I will say Star Wars shits on all of them.
Jeez.
Star Wars shows are so good.
I'm gonna have to fight you on that just for the sole existence of Empire Strikes Back.
You're telling me Empire Strikes Back is better than most Marvel movies?
Most? Yeah.
I mean, yes, they are. But Empire Strikes Back doesn't compare to the top 5 of Marvel. And that's the thing.
Top 3.
Here's the thing. Marvel just has too high of highs. And their lows do not go as low as Star Wars' lows in terms of movies.
Okay.
That's why I have to say Marvel shits on them in movies. But in TV shows, Star Wars shits on them.
Well,
because all of Star Wars' shows have high highs that are higher than Marvel's best highs on their TV shows.
Well, let's get to the substance of episode 2, which is the fact that this is mostly a flashback episode.
Yes.
And we get so much development from this flashback.
Yes.
Just the sole idea of Boba Fett becoming a respectable member of the Tusken Raiders is fantastic.
Oh, it was so good.
And also the realization that the Tusken Raiders might actually be decent people, and seeing Anakin slaughter all of them.
I mean, we first got like some decent characterization of the Tusken Raiders back during season 2 of The Mandalorian, where we could see that yes, they have their own culture and they're very much capable of working with humans, such as when they helped Cobb Vanth's group fight off the Krayt Dragon.
Yeah.
But this time,
I mean, and also in all fairness, the Tusken Raiders also did enslave.
No, they did enslave and if you go by the novels, rape Anakin's mom to death.
Not canon.
The novels are still canon.
Oh, not expanded universe. Never mind.
Yeah, no, the novelizations of the movies are still canon.
Oh, God.
But, yeah, and so Anakin was very much in the right to be very upset and even do a little bit of murdering, but not of the children. Fuck the men and the women, but not the children. He shouldn't have been murdering the Tusken children. They did nothing wrong. Either way, it's really good to just see them just live. It was really funny seeing Boba teach them how to ride speeder bikes, and I really appreciated that they didn't push the comedy to the forefront as much. They let there be comedic moments, but they didn't let it become too much. If it was handled by Marvel Studios, the gags would have been way too much.
Right.
And I think this was handled really well. The comedy was good. It worked really well with Boba's deadpan delivery of everything, where sometimes you can tell that his deadpan delivery is sarcastic or being sincere. And between the Tuskens, who really have to just emote through body language more than anything because they speak a language we don't understand and they do not provide us subtitles, which I like. I actually do like that we don't see what they're saying or know what they're saying, because I think that's very much supposed to put us in the shoes of Boba, where we're just supposed to infer off of body
especially
language.
because most of the time people understand, or most races understand each other when it comes to Star Wars and alien languages, but for really one of the first few instances in Star Wars, Boba Fett doesn't understand them. I mean, we have instances in episode 1 and 3 of him understanding alien languages, but this is, like, the fact that he doesn't understand the Tuskens just improves his performance that much.
Yeah, and obviously, I really liked how they played a lot of they had a lot of specifically Pacific Islander culture into the Tusken Raiders. I mean, Tamara Morrison is a Pacific Islander, and it was really telling, especially when they were doing the Hako war dance at the ending of episode 2. I mean, if you've seen the Haka War Dance and then you see the Tuskens, it's shot for shot. It is amazing. And episode 2 was just really good all around. The action was amazing.
Yeah.
The Pikes versus the Tuskens was like really well done.
And then the mind quest to craft his own weapon.
Literal lizard brain. Literal lizard brain.
And for those who haven't watched the episode, watch it for the context.
I'm just gonna say Boba went full lizard brain and it was amazing. But I really like the metaphor of him joining the tribe being before he had no stick, then he had small stick, then he had training stick, now he has gaffy stick.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
Yeah, for sure.
I also liked when he went to the Tashi Station. We finally see the Tashi Station. That's where Luke was supposed to go to meet Biggs and his friends back in A New Hope. And not just that, the couple he saved?
Yeah.
Those are his friends. That's Luke Skywalker's friends that were originally supposed to be in A New Hope, but where the scene was deleted, but the scene is canon.
Really?
Yes. So the two, I forget their names, they are Luke Skywalker's friends. Their friend group, it was those two, Biggs and Luke. And they were the little quartet on Tatooine. And so them being at the Tashi Station makes sense. That's their hangout. So when Boba comes to beat the Nikta Raiders up, it's really good that the two of them are there.
Okay.
And they even reused a lot of the same set design. Or not reused, but remade a lot of the set design from that original deleted scene.
Oh, you'll have to send me that one over. I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it's just really good. It's like a very, very deep cut for Star Wars fans. But if you know, it's very rewarding, and it really shows that, yeah, this is still the same world from all those years ago, back when it was just Star Wars the movie.
Yeah.
Really shows that the George Lucas's original vision is still alive and well even now. Yeah. So I thought that was a really good deep cut, but I also really like the scene of Boba just going to town on the Raiders. And I think it's really good that we're seeing a sort of biker gang.
Oh, yeah.
Like a speeder biker gang. Like, the concept sounds silly, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Speeder biker gangs would be something that we should see.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, speeder bikes are effectively just motorcycles.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we already have things such as democracy and imperialism and capitalism and all this different stuff from our world in Star Wars. I mean, biker gangs. I mean, that should be a given.
Honestly, I'm willing to give this episode 9 out of 10.
Episode 1, I'd give an 8 out of 10. Episode 2, 9 out of 10.
Without a doubt.
Also, I love seeing Black Craston. I thought at first it was Tarful, but then I read up on it, and it's actually Black Craston, who's a Wookiee, who in the comics is a friend slash work associate with Boba Fett. They used to work together, a part of the same crew, until Darth Vader hired them, and they started working separate jobs, and then they started coming into conflict with each other. So we'll probably see more of him in the series, which will be good because we'll be seeing another Wookiee not named Chewbacca.
Yeah.
So, yes, I also really like seeing the twins, the two Hutts, and how they don't need to have that litter. They don't, but they do it to show their power.
Oh, those poor workers.
I feel so sorry for them. It is literal backbreaking work. I felt so bad for them.
Yeah.
Also, Ming-Na Wen, still amazing. She's played Fennec Shand amazingly in the 3 times we've seen her. She plays Fennec Shand in The Mandalorian. She plays her in Star Wars The Bad Batch, and now she's playing her in Book of Boba Fett, and she's still amazing.
I mean, she's just an amazing actress all around.
I mean, she was the OG Mulan.
Played Agent May.
She was Melinda May. What was the other thing I've seen her in? She's in one other thing that I've seen she was really good in.
Yeah.
But, yeah, just overall, really good. Just Book of Boba Fett is really good, and right now it is my number 1 Disney Plus show that I have seen so far. Actually, no. I'll say it's number 2, second to Star Wars The Bad Batch.
Okay.
And right above The Mandalorian. I cannot stress this enough. I like the Star Wars Disney Plus shows far more than I will ever like the MCU Disney Plus shows.
Yeah.
They
just hit so much harder.
They do hit so much harder, and I think it's just because Star Wars works better in a TV show form than it ever does in a movie form.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. Star Wars works best as a novel, as comic books, and as a TV show than it ever does as a movie.
Yeah, I mean, it has
even a video game.
It has such an expansive universe, and to concentrate that across 3 movies with just the same cast of characters,
same cast of characters, and that those are the main. That's like the main thing that focuses on that affects the universe at large.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. How much staying power does Rey and Finn have anymore?
Not much, but then again, I don't blame that on really the actors or even the characters themselves, but more the direction.
Exactly. The medium itself in which they were portrayed is really detrimental because
I feel like Rey and Finn would have been perfect in a show.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
But moral of the story, go watch Book of Boba Fett. It is amazing.
Yes.
Star Wars shows are going to come out a lot more this year, and I am excited because I know they're going to be great.
Yes. Well, let's move on to our last segment, and of course, it's going to be our political segment of the night.
Wait, no. One more thing. Pokemon's Legends Arceus is coming out in about 2 weeks.
Okay, so I guess we're still stuck on media segments for now.
Yeah. Pokemon Legends Arceus is going to come out in 2 weeks, and we're excited.
Yeah, which we should also give our general thoughts on BDSP as well.
So, I liked BDSP, but it really gave me flashbacks to a lot of frustrations I had with Gen 4 on the DS.
Oh my god, why did they bring back roaming legendaries? Oh my god.
See, roaming legendaries aren't the problem. Do you know what I hated the most? Heart scales. I despise heart scales. I despise the heart scale move tutor in Pastoria City. I hate him. I have hated him ever since I first played Pokemon Diamond. I hated him when he reappeared in Pokemon Platinum, and I now still hate him 15 years later when he appears in Brilliant Diamond. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it because heart scales are stupid hard to find.
Yeah.
The best bet I have is farming Love's Disc in the fucking Pokemon League. You can only do this strat once you've gotten to the very end of the fucking game. I despise that man. And I hate that I have to put up with his bullshit.
Again.
I also hate that we have to use the berries to get rid of EVs. Dear God, it's so difficult because the berries are so... Like, they only cost 1 battle point, but to get battle points is so fucking... Ugh. Because the battle tower is a cheating bastard, and I just want to delete EVs, and I miss the guy. I miss the super training with the reset bag, and I miss the sand. I miss the sand lady from the Isle of Armor. I hate these EVs so much.
Yeah, I would do anything to return back to how EV training was in X and Y.
Honestly, not even X and Y. I like how they have it in Sword and Shield. It's fairly simple in Sword and Shield.
It was the easiest in X and Y. Let's be
honest.
Oh
no, it was the easiest in X and Y, but Sword and Shield is still pretty easy given that you can just literally load them up with steroids and you're good to go.
It's still expensive though.
But to get money is stupid easy. Yeah. All you need to do is just have a Meowth with the G-Max ability, which you can now do thanks to Max Soup, which makes it dummy easy. And then you just keep using the G-Max move with an Amulet coin. And then just fight every super boss that you can find, which are very plentiful. That you end up with like millions of Pokédollars in what? 2 hours? Maybe less, depending on how fast you destroy all the trainers.
I will say, BDSP suffers way too much of being too similar to its original game.
Yeah, one thing that definitely bothered me is that the character movement does not match the overworld that is designed. You can very much tell that the overworld is still designed with the 4 movement grid pattern of the sprite-based games, and not for the 3D free movement that came with the 3DS games.
Yeah.
Because there are so many times where my character has gotten stuck, or the worst is just you want to move forward and you click move forward, but because you're using a joystick and not a D-pad, your character doesn't move forward in the right way, so it doesn't go on a certain panel that you need them to go on, and it is noticeable.
Oh, well, if you've got that kind of complaint, you could just use the D-pad on the Joy-Cons. No, I have heard this argument before.
I hate those people.
Yeah, but honestly, the only novelty in this game, and it's so disappointing because we have all been waiting for a Gen 4 remake, the only novelty in this game is to see how far Pokemon has evolved since 10 years ago. And because, Diamond and Pearl is a great game, but this is not a good remake.
In my opinion, it's a good remake in the sense that it remade everything from the originals and improved upon them in terms of visuals.
No, see, here's the thing. You're talking about a remaster, not a remake.
Well, see, I guess.
Because...
Well, I would say it's more still a remake because we still got a lot of differences.
The biggest difference, of course, being the Grand Underground, which is by far the stupidest way of leveling up. I will say that much. That stuff, if you grind in the Grand Underground for an hour, you're going to be over-leveled for the rest of the game.
Yeah, I definitely became very over-leveled. I wasn't even trying to grind. I wanted to catch one of every Pokemon to fill up the Pokedex before I beat the Elite Four. And my Pokemon were over-leveled until the Elite Four, where they promptly ratcheted up the difficulty where they were matching my levels, and by the time I got to Cynthia, I was 1v1ing her, and we both had to resort to using healing items.
Yeah, the level curve in this game is really dumb.
Because Barry's max level is level 50. You fight Lucian and he's at 61!
Yeah, it's really bad. Especially considering the fact that Cynthia, when you first challenge her, has 4 full restores.
Yeah, she has 4 full restores, and she has a Garchomp at level 66.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. And on one hand, I think it's good that they're difficult because they're the final 5 trainers.
I just was not expecting it. I was just plowing through this game.
Yeah, I was like,
and then you see competitive strategies. You see Heracross hand like taking the flame orb. You see Mr. Mime setting up screens.
You see fucking Drifla minimizing until you can't see it anymore. And then baton passing it to Infernape.
Oh.
So the Elite Four, the champion, definitely were good a good boss rush. I think they're probably some of the best boss rushes we've had in Pokemon.
I will say that is a positive. Just because
I think they were the best boss rush we've had in Pokemon so far.
The whiplash I got from that difficulty curve made it a very difficult pill to swallow.
Yeah, it was a lot of whiplash, but I will say I did appreciate the difficulty in the end.
Yeah.
And the rematches are difficult. I rematched Roar with my team, and I literally only won with a level 65 Houndoom, Dark Pulsing the Rampardos at 12 HP, because my entire team was slaughtered. And I barely got past their Rampardos and won the match. I have not rematched any other gym leader, because I realized I need to EV train all my Pokemon. But that has been absurdly difficult because all my Pokemon have the wrong EVs because of the main game.
Yeah.
So I hate it. But eventually, I will go through and rematch all of the gym leaders and the Elite Four and Cynthia, and then rematch the Elite Four again so I can get her better team, and then do it over and over again until I can get Barry and Dawn's better teams.
Yeah.
And I mean, I do like playing in the battle tower. I think it's fun. I do find that the pool of Pokemon that they choose from are completely and totally annoying with the amount of bright powder that you encounter. I hate that bright powder Shedinja. I hate it so much. It ruined one of my runs because it killed my Alakazam, because my Alakazam missed Shadow Ball due to bright powder, and then it killed me with Shadow Sneak after breaking my sash. And then my last two Pokemon had no moves to take out a Shedinja. But I shit on Palmer all the time whenever I fight him. Except I haven't been able to get to Battle 49 so I can fight his real team, because I really want to get to Master Rank, but I can't get to Master Rank because I keep fucking losing.
Yeah. At least it was faithful to the original in that sense.
No, it's not faithful. It's harder.
Is there really a difference?
Yeah, it's better. It's better this time around. I want to get to the harder fights, because I know they get harder. I want to fight Cyrus with his Entei.
Yeah.
I want to fight the gym leaders in the battle tower. I want to fight Team Galactic in there.
Yeah. I will say, and I feel like this comparison definitely needs to be said, ORAS and Heart Gold Soul Silver fulfilled the remake role much better, but as far as BDSP is concerned,
it's still a solid Pokemon game.
It's still a solid Pokemon game, but it was only a remaster, let's just face it.
See, I would still say it's a remake, but I would say it's definitely the remake that's the closest to the original game. But I would say it's a remake in the same vein that the Crash Insane trilogy are remakes.
Yeah, but there are still quality of life improvements in that game. I would assume.
Yeah, and there's quality of life improvements in this game too.
I mean, yeah, but that's a platform fighter. You can't really
No, it's not.
Or not platform fighting. A platformer. I'm sorry.
I mean, I would say that it's still a remake in the same vein, because the mechanics change that they made in Crash Insane Trilogy has made the games harder.
Yeah.
They've made the games harder and different from what people were used to playing when they originally played the games.
Yeah. Well, there should be a distinction between remake and remaster, and I'm more inclined to call those remasters, honestly.
I wouldn't call them remasters just because they are different. Like, our true remaster would be... You know what a real remaster is? A real remaster would be Injustice and Injustice Gold Edition.
Sure. But those are just different editions.
But that's a remaster.
I guess by definition, yes.
Like, I see these more as remakes than remasters.
We're just gonna have to agree to disagree on that.
I guess. I mean, it's
just
calling it a remaster is like calling Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon a remaster. It's a remake.
there's just too many similar elements, and it doesn't show the evolution of Pokemon from 10 years ago to now. That's
I
my
mean,
problem.
it does in some ways between the different moves that you can use. The animations are far different. The fact that the different moves, the animation, the ways you can do EVs, the following Pokemon behind you, the new ways to do Poffins, the Grand Underground, Ramona's Park. I mean, these are all different. I mean, the experience share change, the changes to the experience mechanics, the addition of fairy types, like fairy type moves. All of those things, I mean, I think that makes it a remake.
Fair.
I mean, all of those things, I mean, even the Battle Tower changes, the changes to the Elite Four, all those things, in my opinion, make it a remake, but just one that's way more faithful to the original than Oras.
Yeah.
I mean, let's remember here, if not for the Battle Frontier, if not for the Battle Frontier and the ability to catch the Hoenn legendaries, Heart Gold and Soul Silver would be a very faithful remake to Gold and Silver.
Yeah.
More like a faithful remake to Crystal.
Fair. And then there's also, of course, the exclusion of Platinum stuff that should have been in the game. Let's be fair here.
Yeah, I mean, what was the Platinum stuff that was missing? Was the Battle Tower, the first boss fight with Barry, seeing Cyrus at Lake Verity, Acuity Lakefront having rock climb.
I feel like we're missing a little bit more there.
Getting into Wayward Cave early. Finding the Reggies throughout the region. The level 1 Regigigas. The remastered resort area that gave you a house and you can find the level 100 Magikarp. The ability to battle the stat trainers outside of the battle facilities instead of just using them as partners.
Yeah.
The Distortion World.
Oh yeah.
We get a bit of it in the Distortion Room, but yeah. Yeah, I would say it's a remake, but it was just very faithful. Which, once again, I mean, they didn't lie about that part. They were very upfront. It is not like we can say they lied.
Yeah, it's just still a disappointing game.
I don't find it disappointing. I just find it average.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, it's an
it's
average game, but a disappointing experience.
I just find it to be average. I put over 150 hours into the game. Oh my god, it's an average game, but I put over 150 hours into it.
And that's just the franchise. Let's be fair here.
But yeah, I just think it's average. I'm excited for Pokemon Legends Arceus because that game definitely is breaking the mold a lot.
Especially because it looks like it's not even going to be taken in as a spin-off. It looks like it's going to be like a major main franchise.
I mean, they've always said that it's a main series game.
Yeah, like that's what I mean. Like it's not going to be considered a spin-off at all.
Yeah, no, they were very upfront with saying that it's going to be a main series game from the beginning, and I really like this direction they're going.
And,
I like the improved visuals with every trailer.
Yeah, and hopefully its influences leave a mark on Generation 9.
Yeah, even though I'm hearing rumors that Gen 9 is coming out in November, which I think that's way too fast. Given that we've gotten, we're getting 2 Pokemon games in 2 months?
We typically get a Pokemon game every year and a half at this point.
Okay, but that doesn't account for the fact that we're getting 2 main series games in a 2-month span, which has never happened.
Yeah. They're gonna sell.
I mean, it's not about selling. I just feel bad for the workers. That's a lot of work to be put under.
Well, Brilliant Diamond and Shiny Pearl were done by Ilka.
They were done by Ilka, but still, you're releasing 2 Pokemon games in a year.
It's different development teams, so I don't. Well, of course, if they're overworked, of course I feel bad for them.
See, that's the thing. I'm mainly worried about the overworking. Unless Gen 9 is a collaboration between both teams. But yeah, so that was our Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. We think Legends Arceus is going to be really cool. We've already talked about Legends Arceus leaks that came out in terms of the different variants and new Pokemon that will come out. Please check out our video.
It looks like the starter rumors are becoming a lot stronger.
Yeah, and we really don't have much leaks in terms of mechanics or story. The most I've heard is speculation, but nothing concrete. So we're probably going to go into this blind.
Yeah, yeah, which is a first, honestly.
Yeah. So yeah, that's our Legends Arceus talk, and well, let's get to our final part, the politics that we've missed.
Politics in quotations, because let's just face it, this is a problem outside of politics that politics could fix, but of course our system is broken.
Yeah. So one of the things we want to mention is very quickly, one, Ghislaine Maxwell is now convicted of 5 of the 6 counts that she was charged with. So we can resoundingly say, get fucked, bitch.
Exactly. Yes.
So it's a really good day to see that she did get prosecuted and that she did get found guilty. She was a tremendous piece of shit that was responsible for many acts of really just evil.
Yep,
She's an evil person, and it really sucks that Jeffrey Epstein is not here to rot in prison with her. But, we'll take what we can get, and this one definitely deserves to rot, and I hope she does. And I hope that the other lawsuits are going to go through.
Yeah, because she's got 2 more trials coming up.
Yeah, she got 2 more trials. And also, her butt buddy, Prince Andrew, has been confirmed to be able to be tried in the United States, meaning the Virginia Guthrie trial will continue.
Oh. Well,
and
I know we're still waiting on sentencing for Ghislaine Maxwell, but that'll be the day for sure.
That'll be the day. And Alan Dershowitz, they put that man on the BBC, which was such a fucking train wreck. But Alan Dershowitz, their time is coming for you, man. Oh, you going down too.
Yeah.
You can't slander Virginia Guthrie enough. They will come for you, and you will go down. Speaking of, so moving on to going down, the 3 men that murdered Ahmed Arbery have also been convicted, all with life sentences. One of them getting life with the possibility of parole, but all 3 got life sentences, all 3 going away. And the judge, when handing out those sentences, gave them a verbal lashing. The way he dragged out how long they were going to be sentenced for was the equivalent of someone sharpening a knife right before they slit your throat with it.
Yes.
Absolute agony. And I loved every second of it.
I mean, these 3 deserved life sentences without a doubt.
Oh, they absolutely did.
The only reason that one of them got the possibility of parole is because of his cooperation with the investigation, right?
And it was a cooperation of investigation and his slight remorse. It wasn't the main thing that got him, it was mainly the cooperation, but the judge did note that he had a slight sense of remorse, but not enough to, not commit the fucking crime. Yeah. So, get fucked, all 3 of you, have fun dying in prison.
Yes. And now we want to focus a lot on this next part, which is the new Omicron variant and its rise, and it's been a lot. It's been a lot for sure. I've known a lot of people over the past 2-week break who have gotten COVID, including Shiny.
Yeah, so
if you want to share those experiences, definitely it'll enlighten a lot of the audience.
So I caught COVID a week after I saw Spider-Man No Way Home. And it wasn't just me that caught it. One of my family members that lived with me also caught it, but thankfully they were asymptomatic and didn't have to go through the hell that I went through. But it started out with just like an itch in my throat, which was just like, oh, I get that sometimes. Didn't think I was sick. Started with an itch in my throat, but then the itch just kind of spread till it wasn't an itch, but was just pain and pressure. And then that spread to my head, but then it spread to the rest of my body, and then I felt cold. I started having chills, and then I started running a fever, and I started feeling absolutely destroyed. Like, my body was just completely and totally gone. Like, I could barely keep myself. I was in so much pain. I was in so much agony. I went to my doctor, and they were doing everything. They did a COVID test, and bam, I had COVID. And I immediately went home. I quarantined in my room for 10 days. and it was so bad that I just kept taking the medicine. I took, what was it? I took like, I took ibuprofen. I drank a lot of water. Um, I drank a lot of citric acid. Sovereign recommended citric acid, and it did help. I drank a lot of water and lemonade,
Yeah,
and the two things helped.
it's just a family tip that has worked in my family for God knows how long. I passed it on to him, and somehow it worked. I don't know the science behind it, but it helped him out. So I am just happy to take credit for that.
Yeah, I drank a lot of water and a lot of lemonade, and I slept a lot. The first two times, like the first couple of days, I could barely sleep, but then I was able to start sleeping, and it was just a mess. I was coughing, I was sneezing, I was in pain. It was hell. It was absolute hell. I hated my life. I hated going through this. I absolutely despised every aspect of it. And that just made me all the more angry at the people in this world that try to deny the severity of this virus. I always disliked them, and I always knew that this virus was terrible and it was monstrous and it was doing terrible things to people. But having experienced it is a whole nother beast. Now that I've experienced it, my feelings on the virus have only increased tenfold in the sense that I know for a fact this thing is dangerous and deadly and it absolutely is hellish to go through for a lot of people. I am vaxxed. Not just vaxxed, I have a booster shot, and it tore me apart. I know damn well if I didn't have either, I would be dead. I would have died from this virus if I did not have vaccination or the booster shot. So I am telling you, please get vaccinated. Please get your booster shot. Please encourage your family and friends and all your loved ones to please get it because this virus is absolutely hellish. It is wreaking havoc across our planet. It is killing people in mass. It is overloading our healthcare system. It's destroying economies. It is absolutely tearing apart the fabrics of our society. And it is so goddamn painful. I cannot understate enough how painful it was. It was some of the worst pain I've ever experienced in my life, and this is coming from someone that that had their spine messed up in a car accident. I would take that pain over COVID any day. It was fucking horrible.
Yeah, and it's a miracle I didn't catch it, considering that we meet up almost every week.
Yeah, we meet up almost every week. Um, we didn't actually meet up the weekend after No Way Home, and so I would like to believe that that spared Sovereign from potentially getting it from me while I was asymptomatic before the symptoms came
Yeah,
up.
because we saw it on different viewings. We saw No Way Home separate from each other, which,
I saw it on release date. He saw it the day after,
yeah,
and so yeah. And a lot of my other friends that I went to see the movie with, they also caught COVID, and it was just as hellish for them too.
yeah. Which I do have one question. Was the pain mostly in your throat, or did it expand to your lungs at all?
My pain was mainly in my head and my body.
Yeah,
Like I would have aches in my arms and my legs, and
because
my head would hurt. I never felt anything particular in my lungs. I didn't lose taste. Um,
so the reason I ask, and I'll also add this comment because I think Delta stopped the or didn't have the symptom of losing taste or smell.
hmm,
I cannot confirm that, but I have also seen recent um, findings that Omicron does not impact or does not cause pain to the lungs, but to the throat and to the throat upward into the throat and esophagus upward to the nose.
um, the only pain I really felt in my throat was just the itch.
Yeah,
But once the itch turned into other things, I don't
because
think there was much pain. I mean, the itch actually went away after a while, and the pain just remained.
I'm still curious as to if you caught Omicron or Delta.
I am not sure, but regardless of which one I caught, it was absolutely hellish, and I do not want to catch it again.
Yeah. Well,
All right, if there's a fourth dose on the way, you best believe I will be the first one in that fucking line getting that fourth dose because I do not want to catch this shit again. It was horrible.
Yeah, and thankfully I got the booster about 3 days ago,
Which
and
is good.
yeah, which this third dose is going to kick you around for sure. Please take it on a weekend, please, for the love of God.
Oh yeah, I remember when I got my third. I got my third dose at the same time that I got my flu shot. Worst decision I've ever made.
Oh yeah,
That was a terrible decision, getting the flu shot and getting
because
the third COVID vaccine
for the
dose.
first and second shot, all I felt was arm pain. For the booster, I got chills, I got headache, I napped for like 3 hours the day after,
See,
with jeans on, mind you.
see, for me, I got the Johnson and Johnson, and during the time that I got the Johnson and Johnson, I did not feel any vaccine side effects because I was literally having my spine rearranged in a car accident, so I could care less about what happened from that, and more about the fact that, holy fuck, I'm in so much pain I can't walk. So, but the third time getting well, for me it's the second because Johnson and Johnson's only one shot. But I got the Moderna for the booster, and I got the flu shot literally 2 seconds afterwards, and god damn that messed me up for like 2 days.
Oh yeah. Thankfully, all the symptoms passed this morning for me.
That's good.
Yeah, because just the booster shot alone, and that'll toss you. Because I had chills all day.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. But
Had a very fun nap though. I'll say that much.
yes, and I did get over COVID about 2 weeks ago, but the reason why we did not stream last week was because right as I was getting over COVID, my wisdom teeth started acting up. And
Yeah.
so my mouth started hurting like hell. And then I didn't sleep for 2 days because I was in so much pain. So, as you can imagine, we didn't do the podcast because even though the pain had finally subsided, if I had a procedure on my wisdom teeth and it went terribly wrong. So there's that. And basically, if I had tried talking much during that week last week, it would have been incredibly painful, and I probably would have shot myself in Roblox.
But yeah, this is a problem that needs to be taken seriously. And after watching Don't Look Up, my ability to trust that people will take it seriously is dwindling very fast.
I mean, I didn't need to even look at Don't Look Up to see that. I just had to look outside. You know what state we live in. You know who our governor is.
Well, we may
We live like 20 minutes away from the fairgrounds. You know how active it is. So, is there any other big political things that have happened?
No, we just really wanted to rant about COVID, honestly.
Yes, we did really want to rant about COVID. Oh yeah, funnies. Candace Owens and Donald Trump had an interview, and Donald Trump was pro-vax, and Candace Owens was anti-vax, and it was just really funny.
Because he was so self-congratulatory that he just lost the plot.
It's honestly so funny seeing Donald Trump's narcissism win out over his desire to appeal to the conservative base, and seeing the MAGA cope over his response to saying getting the vaccine was hilarious.
But at the same time, it's also frightening to realize that not even their God Emperor, not even their God Emperor convinced them to get vaccinated.
Yeah, at this point, the anti-vax crowd is becoming a very, very sizable portion of the Republican Party. And even though a lot of them are dying in droves, it does not change the fact that this is now becoming a single issue vote. It is now honestly going to become a single issue voter issue like abortion and gun rights.
Yeah, and because of that, this is probably going to be a continuous problem for the foreseeable future.
I mean, what was it? The WHO came out, 2 days ago with a report that 50% of all of Europe is going to catch COVID by the end of this year.
I think it was also revealed that 80% of Floridians are going to catch COVID.
Yeah, my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Bet you didn't hear that one.
No, and it's not surprising. I just hate my life, and I hate everything, and I hate people, and I hate conservatives the most.
Yes. Well, I'm going to try very hard in Shiny's post-COVID rehabilitation arc. I will say that much.
Yes, yes. I will say that post COVID, I've become a very, 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 very spiteful person towards people that don't take COVID seriously.
Yeah, and with good reason too.
Yeah, it was fucking terrible, and I hate the people that are damning others to this fate.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, definitely get the booster shot because who knows if there's going to be a time restriction like there was with the booster shot or this third shot. I mean, because remember, you typically you would have to wait 8 months to get the booster, which recently, as of this month, it was reduced to 5 months. But who knows if there's going to be a wait time between shots on this fourth shot?
Yeah, I mean, we know that Pfizer is creating a fourth vaccine.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I think that was everything we wanted to talk about today.
Yeah, solid 2.5 hours. I would say this is a good debut episode for our season 2, without a doubt.
Yes, this is very good. It feels really good to be back, getting into the swing of things.
Oh, you have no idea how much I miss this.
Yes. This will not be broken up into segments because this was just a lot of stream of consciousness more than anything.
Yeah.
And so the stream will be live right after. So yeah, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on all of our social medias. We really appreciate the chatter that we had this stream. It was really good.
Yeah, I understand. I understand why, of course, you would want to skip out on the No Way Home spoilers, but please, if you're not watching it to avoid COVID, we understand.
No, they just don't want to. They just don't want to see spoilers right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to avoid spoilers,
Yeah.
because of the fact you haven't watched the movie, you
Yeah.
could put. I could see the reasoning be, I don't want to step into theaters because I'm afraid I might catch COVID,
Yeah.
which is a very reasonable fear, as we have just discussed.
Yeah.
So if you want to wait until it comes out on Disney Plus, that is fine. I don't see us talking
Oof,
about.
well, it may not come out on Disney Plus because Sony.
Ugh.
Better wait for that Blu-ray.
Who knows? It might go on sale for like $8 on Black Friday, like the other Spider-Man movies.
Who knows?
Who knows? Because the Spider-Man movies are known to be pretty cheap on Blu-ray
Yeah.
on Black Friday. So,
Yeah. Well, it is Black Friday. I expect it to be cheap.
I mean, they are surprisingly cheap for a Marvel movie.
Remember when we found Justice League for $1? On that note, we're gonna head out.
Yeah.
I've been your host, Shiny.
And I've been your host, Sovereign. It is going to be so good to say this again after our long break. But of course, as of every week, you can catch us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. And yeah, this has been the Worldwide Wednesday podcast, and catch you next week.